Salon people and then party them. Sisay-Jalloh Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like Salon discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour, and the Gladi program. Look me, I look you. All this they start soon na www.sisay-jalloh.org. Now who's tem these?
As we talk about burning issues ranging from politics to the economy, culture to sport, education to entertainment, corruption to the environment, we realize the Sierra Leone story is far from finished. So, Sisay-Jalloh Media Production brings you Zooming In. Zooming In is the program that engages everyday people, entrepreneurs, inventors, entertainers, activists, policymakers, and politicians to discuss and debate issues relating to Sierra Leone. Zooming In digs deep into the issues and stories. Zooming In ensures the debate is pushed to another level. Zooming In asks those questions that has never been asked before. So, join me, host Chumaba.
I was raped multiple times by my aunt's boyfriend when I was 6.
I was repeatedly raped at the age of 8 by a close family member.
I was raped at 19. I didn't speak openly about it because I was ashamed and afraid that people would judge me.
I was raped at age 5 by my caregiver's husband.
On June 17th, 2020, 5-year-old Khadija Sakho, a beautiful little girl from Freetown, Sierra Leone, was repeatedly raped and strangled to death, allegedly by her own cousin. Her death shocked the nation. But in truth, in this small West African country, 9 out of 10 girls experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime. Think about that for a second. 9 out of 10. That's 90%. My name is Aisha Sisay. I'm a journalist and activist. I'm joining forces with Idris Elba and other activists from across Sierra Leone to support the survivors of sexual violence with the Survivors Solidarity Fund. Please consider donating whatever you can afford. All monies raised will go to 4 local organizations currently providing free medical and legal services to survivors. 5-year-old Khadija lost her life to sexual violence. That same threat remains for millions of others. So this is also a call for you to use your voice, your power, to draw attention to an enduring culture of rape. Together, we must end it now. My name is Aisha Sisay. I am Khadija Sakho.
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 We are Khadija Sakho.
We are all Khadija Sakho.
When I was young, a lot of things were different. Unfortunately, Most of the differences seen now are heartbreaking and are not good at all.
Before now, men were strong protectors of the weak, fathers, brothers, lovers, sons. Their mere presence guaranteed the safety of women and children.
But what do we do now?
Men harassing and raping women.
Men sexually abuse little girls.
Men battering and killing their wives.
Any form of sexual assault, be it rape, sexual abuse, or pedophilia, is a killer to human self-esteem.
Women should stop dying in silence.
Speak now.
The rapist should be stigmatized, not the victim.
I think death sentence should be the consequence of such terrible acts.
And you mothers, build confidence in your children, put trust in them, listen to them when they make reports, and take necessary actions.
Talking of mothers before now, women were virtuous.
They were mothers, daughters, and sisters.
Nurturing, counseling, supporting their men folks.
But now, women are trafficking female children for money. Women are forced to be silenced.
All this must stop, and it must stop now.
Real men do not abuse, rape, or molest women and children.
It is barbaric, unacceptable.
Let all real men stand with us.
Together, let's say an emphatic no to rape, sexual abuse, pedophilia, and domestic violence.
Of all the crimes committed against a person, rape is the one that leaves the person feeling very violated. A rape victim is often left with the feeling that a part of them has been torn apart.
To use another person's body and ignore the souls that resides within is one of the most outstandingly shocking crimes that one person can commit against another.
Some men harass and rape their women.
Some men sexually abuse underage girls.
Some men beat and kill their wives.
Any form of sexual assault is unacceptable.
There must be consent before you act.
Being in a relationship is not consent.
If they are not sober, they can't consent.
Flirting is not a consent.
We had sex before is not consent.
Silence is not consent.
Only an informed, sober, freely given, ongoing, and enthusiastic yes is consent.
Women should stop dying in silence.
A man does not become a real man by physically dominating a woman. A man becomes a real man by loving, protecting, and respecting the woman.
Real men do not rape or abuse women and children.
Let all real men stand with us. And together, let's say no to child abuse, no to domestic violence, no to all forms of rape, being it spousal rape, intimate partner rape, child sex abuse, statutory rape, date rape, serial rape, and gang rape.
We must rise up against this ugly trend. Justice for one, justice for all.
All sexual assault must stop, and it must stop now.
Silverstone Beats. People killing, people dying, children hurt and hear them crying. You can practice what you preach, or would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. People got me questioning, where is the love?
See this life going evil, we all have to give, oh yeah, yeah. Cause all I see is evil, and too much killing of my people, yeah, yeah. So let's bless one another, yeah, yeah. So let's help one another. I sing again, yeah.
What's in me, I don't see this can't seem really happen. This not to be education opportunity. Now in we need, may we learn for the share, not to all time for big greed.
You see this life, the live, is either we lose or we know. Stop killing one another, let's stand together, yeah. Stop playing the hero, looking at each other like we're zero. Oh no.
joy. This are the time we stop now crime. Don't blind by this life, your future.
Stop the stabbing. Stop the killing. Let's love one another. Peace.
I see fighting every day, I see dying every day. Why don't we help each other and pave the way for a better life, a life that we all deserve? Instead of killing each other, why don't we preserve? So you wanna be a bad man, he's gonna be a badder man. You got a big knife, he's gonna get a bigger knife. Our people suffered for years in chains. Now we turn on each other, cut for gains. For the ones that send the youth to kill themselves, you pretend to be a father figure but only care for yourself. You are nothing but the flesh of the devil. You're evil, low life on another level. Think about the mothers and the pain they go through. You don't care for these kids, they mean nothing to you. But karma only knows the boomerang maneuver. One day the green reaper will be your remover.
This head of the range ranting up some sanctimonious food is a poetic verses, ruminate a prophecy given to a sentient dude. So I say it's as it is for you to listen and deduce the wisdom that's gonna liberate and galvanize you. Under the sun ain't nothing new, that for black on black crimes and breaking news. Under the sun ain't nothing new.
You gotta stand up. Stand up for what you believe in. Gotta stand up. Stand up for what is right. 'Cause if you got me, then I've got you too. Regardless of what you've been through, even when you're feeling new. Do this if we try. There's no time to waste, no time. Together forever, whatever the weather. Us as a unit working together.
See, I've been at London, but me heart still at home. God don't lift me up, but me heart still at ground. You will never go far if you don't know where you're from. So I don't do it for myself, I'ma do it for the young. Please tell my brothers, let's do it for the youngers. Why spend a bag on a jumper? Back where you're from, people die here with hunger. With people then they suffer. You then I argue the bluff, it's copper. Your game need for change, like we not get up. Where's the love? Where's the love, yo? Where's the love? I said,
Where is the love? Little youth, let's take time. Stop all the knife and the gun crime. Think of the future, paint that picture. Get a youth in the future. Peace gonna rain on me. Peace gonna rain on me. Yeah.
Let's stop the violence and come together. Get rid of knives and guns and bombs. Let's be together. With peace and love, golden hope through storm and weather. See what is going on. Where is the love?
Tell me, how do you feel when you see your brothers and sisters lying down the street helplessly? And what will you do if you die today and find yourself in hell?
I want to ask you this. Look inside your eyes and answer me with all the truth. Where you get, whose side the love they?
when I left. Boku man them get nef. If you live by the nef, you will suffer. You know get sense, you know sabi say nef not for butter. Stabbing guys, yeah that's uncool. When it comes to knives, yeah I'm anti. What happened to fighting guys with your hands, G? When you stab a man, it's not one man you stab. Just remember that you stab a whole family.
People killing, people dying, children hurt and hear them crying. You can practice what you preach, or you will turn the other cheek. Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. People got me questioning, where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? The love, the love. Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? The love, the love.
Our aim is to teach our pupils to be creative, critical thinkers, to be innovative, and to become the new entrepreneurs of Sierra Leone and Africa, moving the African continent beyond the 21st century.
Jobs are going to change. The nature of work is going to fundamentally change.
We
realize companies are starting to hire on skills and not degrees.
Currently, I'm a self-taught coding beginner. I develop websites and basic applications. I've been interested in science and technology since I was 11. An up-to-date STEM lab gives us what we need, the tools, motivates us to do more.
The Scholarship and Innovation Working Group from Old Boys Association has been working with both Reverend Canon Ken Davis and Canon Lashite to see how they can increase science and STEM at the school.
STEM is important because pupils can learn how to solve real-world situations and pursue careers in web development, artificial intelligence, robotics, chemical engineering, and the sky is the limit to what a pupil can do.
So a vision for the future entails computing capability that would create a STEM innovation lab to provide all students with practical, engaging, and self-learning opportunities to gain digital skills.
One of the use of the microbit is to test for science experiments. In the case of agricultural science, we want to test for the soil. You can download the information about the type of soil on your computer, and then you take the microbit, download the information on the microbit.
STEM gives us the knowledge, gives us the capacity. With the science, the technology, engineering, and mathematics, it helps you to be able to prepare for the future, to be able to earn your place in the future workplace.
The coding club is new, and we only have a few members for now. And very soon we will have a big coding club.
Let us give the young people the tools to become critical minerals or miners of their thoughts and ideas that will develop our countries, and also for them to play their part in creating a conceivable world.
All donations are appreciated, and all funds raised will go towards the development, implementation, and management of this first-of-a-kind digital STEM lab in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone Grammar School, empowering students for tomorrow's world.
Currently, I'm a self-taught coding beginner. I develop websites and basic applications. We had an opportunity to meet the Vice President and the First Lady. They were so surprised at what we were doing. They were excited to see that pupils in Sierra Leone could actually do what we were doing back then. I've been interested in science and technology since I was 11. I was really curious to know about what was going on behind those games I was playing. What is behind the scenes? And I was interested. I googled it up and I searched and I saw coding. So I was really curious to know what it was all about. An up-to-date STEM lab. It gives us all what we need to make us comfortable, to make us feel like we are being supported, to motivate us to do more. The coding club is new. As time goes on, more people will be interested in what coding is all about. Coding is one of the tools of innovation. Innovation is what people have been using to solve problems before. It's what we need to solve problems that we're facing now. Innovation comes in different aspects, different areas. Or one way we can innovate, or one area we can innovate in is technology. And coding empowers us with knowledge we need to innovate in terms of science and technology.
Famous. No, yeah, See, where are the sings so good? Let me know how to feel. Where are the sings so? Let me know how to feel. Ain't God, you just see them the millet. Why she comping just a better? You see them no more the millet.
Why so the man to return for? How you gonna live this life just for the fella another person now? How you gonna live this life just for the fella your brother man down? Ain't God, yeah, lily, lily, yeah, yeah, lily, lily, yeah, lily. See, lily. Oh God, this thinking make I wonder why me no for carry gold. Hey God, this thinking make I wonder why me no go get your AI. This thinking make I wonder why me no go get say. And God, this thinking make I wonder why me where you know say some man them get seven, them get sour right around them ways. Oh God, some man them get smelly, them get tutu where you know go know famous. I don't know who I have forgot. Now this wall we're full of wickedness. I don't look left and I don't look right. What's grandma can tell me say some problem can and I fall look under your foot. Look under your foot. Look under your foot, mama, look under your foot. Now for look under your foot. Look under your foot, yeah. Look under your foot, mama, look under your foot. Oh God, this thinking make I wonder why me no for carry gold. Hey God, this thinking make I wonder why me no go get your AI. This thinking make I wonder why me no go get say. And God, this thinking make I wonder why me where you know say some man them get similar, them get juju right here on their ways. Oh God, some man them get tight, them get seven where you know go know. Hey, famous.
Be tell you once, be tell you twice. This life not fight, you got to be wise. Every day you arise, give praise with a dance. Yeah, yeah, keep on trying. Day we awake, a different story. Work night and day, not the same story. When me young go better, when I go left for eat where. When me young bread go butter, then go they call me master, then go they answer me yes sir. When me young two go turn to four, who's time I go get some? We all come up and go. So don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. Yeah, keep on trying. If they say you not gonna make it, got to keep on trying. Life not they treat you well. Keep on trying. You married not they go well. Keep on trying. Opportunity that they come your way. Keep on trying. They feel say na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass. You dey feel say na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass. You dey feel say na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass. You dey feel say na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass. Some man you pass you, yeah. Keep on trying. As long as you dey try. Keep on trying. One day, keep on trying. You must make up. You got to keep on trying. If you just keep on trying, keep on trying. Anything you dey do now for all and time. Believe on your dreams and walk to the future. Yeah, keep on trying. Therefore keep on trying. If you na painter, carpenter or farmer, so you the traders, me mama then na bacha. Keep on do you do, keep on dey try, and then you go make am. You dey feel say na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass. You dey feel say na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass. You dey feel say na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass. You dey feel say na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass, na you suffer pass.
You don't tire with life. Keep on trying. Doctor say you could die. Keep on trying. Don't tire for cry. Keep on trying. What I done now you eye. Keep on trying. Whatever you do now for move on. Keep on trying. Gonna make sure you move on. Keep on trying. You not lose hope and cry. Keep on trying. Wait for the day it go come. Keep on trying. 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 Keep on trying, 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 keep on trying. You're not tired, you're not tired, you're not tired, you hustle on it, you're not tired, say you know they money done, now you on. Keep on trying, keep on trying.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, mama, papa, brothers, sisters, wherever you are in the world. Once again, today it's the 12th of November 2020, and this is Isatta Sisay-Jalloh of the Health Show, welcoming you to yet again another interesting evening and program shared with you live on Facebook via Sierra Gem Media, and also you can watch it via YouTube. Thank you, thank you for joining me. We tell you thank you. Today, like I say, we did talk about something special. Last month, which was October, this October month, we talked about women's health. We focused on breast cancer, primarily to do with women. And so following on from that, we like for do things equally. We need for share the love all over. So this month, which is November, it's the month called Movember, and it's to do with men's health. We focus primarily on men's health. So just to give you an overview of what we're going to be talking about this month, we're going to start today with prostate cancer. And then next week, that will be followed by people sharing their experiences regarding prostate cancer. And then the following week, we'll talk about diabetes and men. So it's going to be all about men this month. And like I said, it's prostate cancer. That's why I'm wearing blue. People say, oh, we last month we were all in pink. And today, I think a couple of us are wearing blue just to share the love. And then I don't know if you can see my little badge, Man of Men, to represent prostate cancer. So welcome, welcome. But today, not for me to do the work. I don't go bring other experts. Like I can tell you now, the health show is all about partnership. It's all about collaboration. It's all about information gathering. It's all about information sharing. It's all about the opportunity for we make una begin think about certain things so that una go know what una they look out for and usai for go seek help. So because of that, I bring somebody today, a fine gentleman, someone I look up to. He's an inspiration, and our own brother, because he's also from Sierra Leone, a very proud Sierra Leonean. He's within academia in this country. He's also a health practitioner, and he's also an entrepreneur. He owns his own hotel in Kpandemoi called Rendezvous Hotel. So if you do happen to go to Kpandemoi, please stop by. You'll be more than welcome and entertained. And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who have attended any of the big C cancer conferences that I've held in London, UK, this face will be a familiar face to you because he's been quite supportive. He's been quite instrumental in these cancer conferences. And the feedback we've had with all his talks has been nothing less than 90%. So hence, I thought today again, I will bring him, make we all can listen again, make a share your own little 2 cents to we. So ladies and gentlemen, with, too much talking from me, I give you nobody else but Mr. Victor Kpandemoi Abu.
This is a different way of time, knowing that it's been in person in the past way, in front of people, then they able to interact with them. This time around is virtual, which is the new normal. So thank you very much for the opportunity again for coming, for sharing clinical. I don't quite know what format you want this for take as far as I can tell the students them, and they teach adults them. I want for be how interactive it's going to be, being virtual. I don't know how interactive. If you want to start off with some overview conversations, then I can do that. And probably from that, some discussions will come about. Approach una favor in for that.
Sure. Thank you for that, Victor. I think whatever approach you feel is great. Our brother, Mr. Jumaba, is keeping an eye on the chat room. So every so often he would interject with questions or comments, and we will keep reminding viewers to please participate, ask questions, make comments, and be part of the discussion. So for me, basically, just to open it up is I just want to tell people and say all the time when they talk about cancer, and for those who have not been privileged to be part of any of these conversations or discussion, I just want to make them know, say cancer is just a condition where some part of the body, where with science calls cells, which we body is made up of, sometimes during reproduction of these cells, something goes wrong, and they begin grow without no control. I can always refer to cancer cells like traffic light system, where you have your green, amber, and red, where there's always control so that the motokawe they come off from you right, no can bang the motokawe they come off from you left. But when that traffic lights can go off, there is a little bit of chaos that happens. And that's exactly how the cancer cell works. So if the thing where they control and go wrong, then they stop for grow, it continue for grow. And sometimes if it's not noticed soon enough, it grow around the surrounding way there, and also go into different organs of the body. So one of the organs then there is waiting they can't talk about today in relation to that area there. That is why we've brought someone who is a specialist so that it can enlighten we. So although this gets to do with man well body, it also gets to do with woman, because we all know say we woman them. Now we always can there next to the man them side by side. So until they where you the person self not able to notice, and the person where they near you, go notice them. So it's as important for us, the woman them, also for listen, because if we not get a partner, we must get a brother, we must get a papa, or we must get a friend where we might able for share some of these experience or knowledge with, or we might able pick something where they go on, where we can able give them the right advice. So Victor, what we go do, we go just go through a process where we start first. You give us an overview. Give us an overview of where it all comes from. Okay. And then we can take it from there. And like I said, I can interject, ask questions, and Juma as well can interject. And also, usually what we tend to do will also give Femi and Tiboy an opportunity to share their own experiences or ask questions or make their own comments as we go along. So I go left that give Juma as well. So once again, thank you very much. Good evening, all viewers. Welcome, and over to you, Victor.
Isatta, just for takeoff, what Isatta made the reference to the expert. What makes me the expert? So just a very quick one. I run prostate cancer clinic and prostate clinics at the University College London hospitals in the UK, in London, UK, of course. Currently at the lecture by nurses and social workers. So probably that's where, and I published some articles on prostate cancer, on prostate care. So if you go to Abu prostate, you probably will get some of that. That's where Esther is coming from in terms of the expertise. But expertise more for dude. What people do they ask and how are they respond to that? I'm looking for prostate. Generally, not only man get prostate. There's a primitive form of prostate when I think a woman then gets back to the skin's disease. No, skin's as professionals, so they use language where in a normal conversations you probably not will easily hear him, but because I talk as a professional, I have to use those. So, but normally get prostate. As the born way the prostate is there, as they grow, it grows right to death. Like you say, most things that in man shrink as they get older. Two things will shrink if they get bigger than the prostate in the case.
Hello, sorry, Mr. Abu, 1 moment. Let just interject quick. We get the sound, they look fade a little bit. Possibly if you stay back, just a little bit back.
Yes, because okay, all right.
Let's see if that works.
Animated, so
I can see you're excited and everything. Yeah. We like the vibe.
Yeah. So is that better now?
A lot better, yes.
Thank you. So I'll stay in this position. And then the height is okay for you as well. Is that
Yes.
all right?
Yeah.
Good. So
we still get drowning. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know, for some reason the sound keeps fading in and out.
all right. I don't know what I am going to do about that at the moment. I'm very happy to change our systems, but it's still a drown in and out.
Right now you sound okay. Yeah, but then when you break and you try for comeback, then at that time it sounded drown. I don't know what's happening.
Sean, it will make any difference because any difference?
Okay, so what I'll suggest, can you log off and log back in?
Okay.
And then let's see if that makes a difference. In the meantime, I'll ask Isatta go to talk to people and not go na the experts in view, Isatta. Just
no.
Because I really don't like the way how the conversation they go so far. So now that me the wait for. I'm excited.
You don't wake up, eh?
I've been awake, you know. Yeah.
Hi viewers. Sorry,
Right.
we're just trying,
Juma.
Yes, sir.
we're just trying to
So if
get
you log off and log in again,
actually, I'll go to
going so that you can hear properly. As you know, with all the sound tech and everything, sometimes some equipment can fade in and out. So, but we're trying to fix it. Mr. Victor is just logging off and logging on again to see if that will make a difference, because we know I'm not gonna miss any of this topic. They'd already given me the gag notice, still I not talk, because the excitement, I can see you, the viewers as well. You're so excited and looking and waiting to hear what Victor is about to say. So when you're ready, give me a thumbs up, and Mr. Femi, and then I would excuse myself.
Okay, we're waiting for Mr. Victor to log back in. So
So as we wait for Mr. Victor to log back in, like I've always said, cancer is a disease that is non-selective. You know, they choose, you know, get preference. As in, not so because you poor, you they get cancer. Not so because you rich, you know go get cancer. Not so because you tall, you go get cancer, or you know go get cancer. Not so because you short, or not so because you black, not so because you white. It's very non-selective. Nothing where it depends on who that go get them and how you go get them. Of course, there's so many different factors that can contribute to that. And there's so many other things such as lifestyle will go help for prevent some types of cancer. But the most important thing and the key message here is, at least if you get the information for no waiting for look for, or how for look from, or who side for go, then it's a big step forward. So that is the emphasis where me as the CEO of Health Show, really they try for focus on, try to give you the information to promote health and well-being, and for prevent as many ill health as possible in our community, especially amongst the BAME community. So now I think we've got Victor back. Hopefully it will be much better now.
I don't change from the desktop to my laptop, I think.
All right.
Good.
Does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds a lot better. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just change our systems.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, I will introduce again Victor Kpandemoi Abu is a specialist and everything. He's an entrepreneur, he's an academia, and he will tell you a bit more about himself, and then he'll take it from there. Please feel free to ask questions. We're monitoring the comments. If you want to ask questions, or if you want to add your own 1 or 2 cents, please don't hesitate. We'll try and keep it in our local dialect, which is Creole, but until now all know well, don't come them country there. Don't say sometimes for talk the full Creole can hard small, but we'll try our best. Okay. Thank you very much. Over to you, Victor.
I'm not going to belabor it. I just will take off from where I was. So, like I was saying, Juma, just guide me, please. How the audio day?
You're perfect right now, sir.
Thank you. So, Naman and they get prostate, okay, and the bone with time, with the grow with time. Generally speaking, as they grow older, the prostate get larger. Generally speaking, prostate, like Isatta mentioned in the introduction, is a gland actually, and like other organs, the lung, the heart, it gets cells. Even the hair will get now, it gets cells. They can grow and die. So where the normal function of those cells in the prostate will go wrong, now in the result to problems like prostate cancer. The prostate itself, if you want for a day, like the heart, it's easy for let's say the heart, the left side, upper part of your body. The prostate, we back passage. We say with the pass, what do they call number 2? We say they go na toilet. That side of the prostate there. And then below, we see we bladder na the water bag, na the whole urine stay until we're ready for go pass water. So the prostate they below the water bag or the bladder. So if you put your hand, I don't put my hand about man the back passage. If you put your hand na pussy back passage as far enough, you will able to feel the prostate because the prostate sit on before we say they call the actual language where we use back home. We kaka hole. Allow me to say that, okay? Or back passage. So if you put your hand there before we say we pass number 2 kaka, I have to call it. Now the prostate sit on. So in terms of what's in the prostate there for? The heart, of course, a pumping machine. So the prostate, what's it in there for? 2 main functions. Because some people confuse if the prostate is useless. It's not useless. It's a very significant gland in the body. It plays 2 important functions. One, it control how they pass water. So if you don't get prostate, it's possible for you to get water problem. You either go leak water or you're not able to hold water very well inside your bladder. The other thing where the prostate can do, they contribute towards where would they produce begin. So the reproductive activity. Because some of the, what they call sperm or the semen, the fluid will produce where we engage in sexual intercourse or we ejaculate. Some of that fluid, they come up from the prostate. So if you not get a prostate for like produce that fluid, you're not able get that semen or the sperm for actually move from the man in your body into the woman in your body, as the case may be. Therefore, anything what they do around the prostate, they advise you say, make sure say, you either sperm bank or you will get difficulty for born picking because of that role there. Now, when you come to prostate cancer, the question only possibly ask what's the risk? What's it go make? What's it for? They look out for. What's the risk? Say I go get prostate cancer or I not go get prostate cancer. Risk of prostate cancer, at least the way you hardly reverse. There are 3 main risks then. One, as they grow older, with chances of getting prostate cancer they increase. So every man where they above the age, especially a black man, I know my audience is largely black, above 45, where chances of getting prostate cancer, they increase significantly with age. So probably at my age now, I'm not going to tell you my age, but probably when I talk about other references, I'm going to begin to tell you my age. I mean, chances of getting prostate cancer is nearly 50% that I can get it. And any man between the age of 40, let's say 50, 60, about 40 to 50%, and that they progressively increase to about when the age of 70, you'll get about 60, 70%, etc., etc. So as we grow older, that's so with chances of getting prostate cancer. The other thing where they make where risk of prostate cancer increase is if we get a gene, not a gene for drink, okay, this pronounced similarly, Gene. Gene are the message that whether they inside the cells, where they give you instruction or where they give you instruction, what people do. If you get a family history or a gene of prostate cancer, then your chances of getting prostate cancer increases. And I'm talking about if your papa or your uncle or your brother then get prostate cancer, that's the increase your chance of getting prostate cancer. And the final or third one, risk factor, is if you're a black man, your chances are higher than a white man, a Caucasian, generally. So, for example, in the UK, in the population of the UK, 1 in 8 people in their lifetime will get prostate cancer. But that figure is lower for black people. It's 1 in 4 people. It's actually more lower if you get a family history. It can be 1 in 2. Not necessarily that if your papa or your uncle, brother, then get it, you go get it. Not necessarily, but your chances can increase. It not mean say as they grow older, you will definitely get out. No, it means that your chances increase. So it's just a part of risk factor. So we're seeing that the science them. Now, not at any stage anybody is asking a question, please, I'll respond to that. I'm happy to be stopped. We're seeing that the science them for look for, or say, just like, of course, the word is COVID now, they will tell you, say, if they sneeze or cough, then you go to hospital and check you for that. So what can they sign them for look for prostate cancer? Because I don't talk now, say, black man, I don't talk, say, papa risk, or I don't talk, say, getting older. The next question is, what thing I'm going to look out for? So all those, your signs and symptoms, signs. Let me leave it at the science stage, at this stage. Generally speaking, prostate cancer, like let's say lung cancer, if you get cancer in a lung, maybe they're going to cough plenty. Prostate cancer, they get in most cases, you don't get any sign at all. Absolutely not. And it's only when, if that cancer is advanced enough for like a press against your water pipe. Because when they pass through water, it pass through the prostate. So if you get cancer around near your water pipe, it press against the water pipe, then it can cause some problem where they pass water or where they go, have a wee, for example. But that not scare anybody, because forget water problem, that's for past water, is a very common problem where you don't get any connection with prostate cancer at all. But most prostate cancers not grow near the water pipe, they grow away from the water pipe, generally speaking. So now we're in an advanced stage. So not get worried because they will wake up now nets for go past water or they pass water too frequently. You get worried saying that prostate cancer. Not necessarily. But in majority of the cases, that is not the case. But if you have concerns like a family history, then I think it makes sense for let you get checked. So I don't move on to the point of let you get checked. So if you get concerned, and they get older, you saying the papa they get water problem if they seize. But that brings me. Where they grow up, where they go to school, the power they stay with. Once they talk to the power don't seize. What they mean by that is the power enable pass water. It may get something for the prostate now that I have got this experience. Not necessarily cancer, it may get a large prostate. Forget a large prostate, it not mean say you will get cancer. Now different things then. So
yeah, Mr. Abu, I just want to ask quickly, whilst with the advance for begin go to the symptoms then, but you mentioned something about the black man and with the black people, and you know, sometimes you get family history of that, so possibly you know, papa, uncle, grandpa, and things like that. For a community where it's difficult for low know. You know, that is one challenge, and why more so with black people? And because first we be the things anything we get for do cancer and money man sick now it's man sick first. So is it because we know the test, or we're not been too familiar with them, or what is it?
So why black man? We don't know. They have not proved that at all.
Okay.
Good research going out now, the profile research where they try to look that for. So why the risk in black people? It get for with the type of gene we will get, okay, basically. But for say what type of gene will we get as Black people will cause the problem, that has not been isolated. Because the gene where it common for cause prostate cancer, like the BRCA gene, similar to what breast cancer, connected to breast cancer, both Black man and white people, they need to get them. So now the type of gene. So at the moment, it's not known at all. The close like it can to is with hormones, the testosterone, that's not confirmed, because if a Black person, your testosterone level is generally higher, but what that can generally cause is more of the size of the prostate, much more than your risk of prostate cancer. So we don't know why the risk of prostate cancer in Black people is higher, but we know it has connection with the gene. What specific gene, that is not known at this moment. But I don't know what's happened to me, papa, me uncle, of course, because we're not any opportunity for know about those things. Like I made a reference to this relative what I believe with. If possible, they say it don't seize, they get difficulty for pass water, it is connected to the prostate, but not necessarily prostate cancer. So we know as most of us, myself, we're not in a privileged situation for now we're able to know what's now with family history of prostate cancer. And now that is coming on. So keep your eye open, hear what they happen to families and take that on board. But it's not always easy, not straightforward.
So continue, Usa been caught you.
So you get a concern, say I'm getting older, I don't know if Papa been getting or because I'm a Black man. What do I do about it? Or I wake up in the night, I go to the because I don't mention about this water passing business. So what's he gonna do? Even back home, I'm talking when I talk back home because this conversation is slightly more fluid because within a different environment. So some of the things that I have referred to a difficult for you put a particular setting. So I got to look at what are the situations back home as in Sierra Leone, and of course people that are listening here and other parts. So allow me please and ask question if you want to be very specific about the environment in which you're living. Well, if you find out symptoms, go to your doctor. Go to your doctor. It's not as straightforward as that in Sierra Leone, of course, because I know what it means. You just grab and go to your doctor. It's going to cost you money. Here, go to your doctor. We call it your general practitioners. You tell them what's your concerns. They will get for ask you about what's your water problem, how long you don't deal with you, what's your family history. They go ask them question and they go tell you, say, will they do some testing? Well, let me see what's your risk factor. Will they do some testing? The most common testing they do can be quite, people can find it a bit embarrassing. One of the first tests they do, they try to feel the prostate itself. When they put your hand like your back passage, so inside the caca hole, you put your finger there, this finger, you actually put it into the caca hole as far as you can touch the prostate. And you can feel the prostate easily, all right? You feel most part of the back of the prostate. You feel you try to feel what's the size of the prostate, because if you experience enough, you'll be able to tell what's the size, whether that size normal or not normal. You'll be able to feel what we call the texture of the prostate. What do I mean by the texture? Here, when I rub here, like a baby bottom, picky in bottom, all right? It is smooth and soft. That's a good prostate. That's the prostate to be worried about. But if they feel it hard to touch and lumpy, then you may have some concern. Then they call that one the digital rectal examination. So that they check your prostate by putting a finger in the back passage. Then they can able to tell you, say, we get concerned or we not get concerned. Then they can do some blood test. There is a very specialist blood test. It is not 100% blood test. They call them, here's why PSA is a prostate specific antigen. So now a particular protein where they come up from the prostate. So when they take the blood test, they check that protein, they see the level at which it is. If it is above the normal, it give cause for concern. Now, just for warn you, not everybody are aware of the issues around this particular blood test. Because a GP go do a blood test for the PSA, let's say for a man the age of 50 to 60, the level for them between about 4 to 5. Let's put it that way. That is the average. But as they grow older, 60 to 70, that level can be about 5 to 6 or 6 to 7, as the case may be. So if I get me beginning part, as you grow older, your risk of prostate cancer increases, your size of your prostate increases. Therefore, this PSA, this protein, itself, a level can increase. So color, it is age related. So if a GP do a PSA for me now, and a PSA come back at the level of 10, if they expect time for me 5, that GP is going to be alarmed because it expects it for me 3 to 5. But if the GP not able to tell me the size of my prostate with that PSA they come out, they're enough fully informed about my risk of prostate cancer. So what I'm saying here, the bigger your prostate without cancer, the more of that protein your prostate they produce. So you can get them at a higher level without cancer. You can get them sometimes at a lower level with cancer. So it's not a foolproof test. So when you go to a GP, you try to ask as many questions as possible around the test itself. If there's no question, I'll continue with terms of...
I would like to ask a question, please, Victor.
Go ahead.
Regarding the digital testing.
Yeah.
Can individual do it themselves? Let's say some man we want to be vigilant. Like last month, they talk about breast cancer. Woman, then we talked a lot about breast self-examination. With the prostate, can a man do self-examination?
No, that's a flat answer. You cannot. I'm going to tell you, I speak here as a professional, just say, I can feel my own prostate. In the shower, I'm having, my fingers are lubricated. If I put it, and I do that sometimes, I can feel the tip of my prostate. But it doesn't give me any information at all. What probably you can, if you get a partner where it gets the information, you can actually, the partner can check your prostate. If they know what they are looking for, it can happen. Because the prostate also, let me share this with you, is also a sexual gland. Because when you play with them, it stimulates. So it could be part of a sexual activity that, but if the person knows what they are looking for, they can actually go and play around the prostate and tell you, say, it feel like this way or you don't feel it that way. But as a person, you cannot check it yourself. No.
So Victor, you either nurse them, right? Permission for check woman them prostate.
Oh, you can, absolutely, and you should, because it's also a learning opportunity for you, the nurse, for let you actually get your idea around. I'm not mentioning in my opening, because there is nothing like a normal size prostate, okay?
Yeah.
A golf ball, if you notice a golf ball size is like, that is what my prostate size is expected to be at this age.
Okay.
That's within normal. But if it is large, it could be very, very large. And a prostate can be as large as the size of a tennis ball.
Okay.
So if it's that large, that's going to be a problem. But what I'm saying is, so it's an opportunity, of course, for you, let you get an idea of what you're checking for. In addition, it can spice up things as well, Isatta. So give it a try.
Yeah, that's good to know. But also, I think one of the challenges, I can see all these men in the background smiling, smirking, and everything, because I bet you then go say, you know, the gorilla, nobody go put her na mikakaolo.
I know.
You know, because this is the big issue, isn't it? This is the elephant in the room. The man them go the one that say, especially we black brothers them, go the one that say, why go left, see don't possible go ducking finger na mikakaolo. So whether not the woman or the partner or even the professional, like you don't say, they notice signs and symptoms, urinary frequency or infrequency, or like we say that they don't seize, you know, they will go and pass water, then go to the GP, then it happens say the GP now woman, then the GP say, you don't explain all that in here, the GP say, well, I want to let you down at this bed, let you pull it trusses, then they can't put my finger up your backside. How waiting you go able tell we brothers them for say, listen, move away from that thought, say the cacao not to just for pull the cacao, now the belly where the body no want, but also it's a place where they need for go look for some information, but also like you just don't say, it's a place as well where you go get some sexual enjoyment from, you know.
You're not going to get that from the GP. If I was saying, so somebody tell you say, yeah, man, you or the nasty, I'm going to be put you out of your back, that kind of stuff. Then but that's a point. That's a point. Shame not the pan sickness, you know, and this age we for ask the questions and we for try for do them. So that is where we come from. We, as in this part of the world, or where we get the information, but now we support we brothers them or we families them in terms of what's in need. I don't get a lot of calls. Either I explain them to the person, they give the person a call, or I talk to the person directly and reassure, because you blame them for not understanding, knowing that in a tricky place, na nasty business, na manyimi business, that kind of stuff. Then you can't blame them for that, because until the person know the significance, the importance of doing it, you not go do them. You go resist for do them. So you got to encourage them. You got to give them the information, or if you don't get the information yourself, make a referral to somebody where they go get confidence in. Well, let's share that information with them. I think that's one approach you can use.
Thank you, Mr. Abu. I just want to follow on a couple of questions and just encourage reviewers them as well for they ask questions and comments. Una do man the way they watch, una go call una man them and una partners they let them can listen for themselves. So tomorrow they not go say na you say oh, because you know then not say you see what in Isatta Sisay-Jalloh they try for do. He ask specific questions if the nurse woman they allow for let and check their man there. So they try for make a point now. Because what you know about nurses, where you see get a nurse, now you they become the experiment. As she's anything, then they diagnose you every day 500 sickness. So this one is good for land. So I don't know for not so by willful they go they do have. That's why. Yeah. But what? It's true. It's true.
No comments. Another talk.
Okay, all right. Okay. So, Mr. Abu, the thing I want to ask is the issue related to the PSA test.
Thank you.
Okay. And the reason why I make I ask that specifically for possibly with people that they listen from back home.
Okay.
Because traditionally or culturally by default, it becomes an issue wherein we don't have that opportunity or the confidence for ask nurses or doctors questions. Some doctors and nurses or health practitioners, when you ask them too much questions, they feel annoyed that they can't teach me my job, or they don't have the time. So how can you ask that question, you know, if they say, oh, they do PSA? Because when they go, they say, go do lab test, they just give paper, I come, they mark medicine for you, go. So you come back in 2 months or 1 week. That's it. Or they tell you say for go surgery, you know, they even ask waiting a surgery for. So how can we encourage our peeps to, and even we waiting now, because they don't adopt that culture, they don't can ask, so even they're afraid for talk to GPs them, ask them questions. So the PSA test, is that something where then they do it normally, your usual health check where you see you go every year? Is that a test that they run, or you get for Guam upon request?
It can be upon request if you get a family, if you get concerns, a routine as well. But it's not good practice for any GP for do a PSA test on you without giving you information about the test. Like a simple blood test. Like just like when they take blood test for your kidney or for your hemoglobin, it's a normal blood test. But when you go to the lab, they look for this particular protein. And when you say you get a concern, you don't request them, your GP is aware of your history, they can do it routinely now for you at your whatever. But again, is just the information they share now is good, or let you know what they are looking for, because the GP may get alarm of the figures. But when they do, here we'll get the facilities. What they do, they notify you, which is where I was going to, or I will be going to, talking about for. The situation back home, Juma, you referred to, is a very tricky one. Because I find myself in that situation twice. And with a doctor I was really very surprised. It was shocking stuff to me. Because I would talk to them, I not present any expertise. I was as humble as I could. I be just one for I support the person at that stage. But like you said, they question me or they challenge me knowledge. And there will people who want to rely on, we say, you talk to them. But even with that, you get blocked, you get barriers right across. That's something difficult. I think it's more of an education for our head practitioners, more than the people, really. So if we get opportunities for us to reach out to the head practitioners, say, people that don't go out there, they don't get this experience, they don't get this knowledge, that we entertain this kind of conversation across board, it may help. But from the people inside, it's just not, the barriers are too many. Like you said, they just prescribe, they're not even explained to you sometimes, which can be really, really frustrating. So I think more of how we can try to engage with the practitioners, let them get that information so that at least they're going to make it easier for the people that ask those questions.
Okay. So Fambulo, they listen, not afraid for ask you doctor or nurse question and ask in a respectful way. Hopefully then we'll be able to talk to you. Keep asking.
And I hope that there are practitioners where they listen or we go replay this. Also take the message to the multidisciplinary meetings and discuss at your level. Say this is a concern expressed at this level.
Okay. Tiba gets concerned because one for begin do the other tests. So ABC
I see the camera now.
I know.
That's the one for do. The camera fan one nurse, you know. Go ahead, Tiba.
Tiba, you need to ask question. Somebody make a comment, Juma, where I know I love miss.
Okay.
Which is probably best we address her now before we move on. Mr. Victor, the person say, can an enlarged non-cancerous prostate be reversed or treated?
Yes and no. If the concern are for cancer, then you don't have to touch your prostate if you don't get cancer. All right. So because the question, this person, a very good question, but I have to break it down. So what the person try for ask, my understanding is you get a large prostate, but that prostate not get cancer. So can you treat it? If not for cancer in sake, you don't need for treat an enlarged prostate. It's not like prophylactic, like for say, woman say, gets a family history of breast cancer. We know a very famous woman in the world who has done that. Therefore, I go remove both breasts, even with cancer not there. So if the cancer not there inside the prostate, you don't need to treat it for prostate. However, you can treat them for urine symptoms where it causes you. Whenever we have this kind of conversation, the overlapping conversation that we get is to do with urinary symptoms. Because if that is more worrying for most men, more common than the actual prostate cancer. But I know the focus of this conversation is around prostate cancer. So if you get an enlarged prostate without cancer, but it causes you urine symptoms, you don't try medications. Yeah, they try medications for relax the prostate or medications for shrink the prostate. If they are not working, then they could therefore do some surgery on that enlarged prostate so that they could increase the size of your water passage or they pass water easily. So there is a treatment for an enlarged prostate without cancer for urine symptoms, but there is no need for treatment of an enlarged prostate without cancer for the purpose of cancer. There's no need for that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Victor. And this is just one for you to have at the back of your mind when you move on to that. Okay. Somebody's saying, when you come to solutions, what can you advise which is preferred, chemotherapy or radical prostatectomy? But I think that is just for you to hold that in your thoughts.
I will.
When you get to that point, because I think a bit of comments are flowing in, so I don't want us to miss out on the comment. But most of it has been really compliments, isn't it, Juma?
Compliment so far. So one for go to T-Boy in question now. Because I don't. It don't make. Let me say when you say for that finger business,
the digital examination.
Exactly, that digital. Go ahead, T-Boy. Over to you.
You don't show so much excitement on this for the fact that I'm not even saying nothing, but you are excited. I don't understand why are you so excited today?
No, T-Boy will read your body language, okay?
Thank you, sir.
You came on, you went back, you came on. That was very, very visual to us. So no,
my camera has been on since this program started.
T-Boy, let I answer your question when you not ask, because I all right. So the answer I do that all the time. I do that.
I haven't asked a question. I'm not asking no question.
So what's going to happen?
Mr. is the expert. You see, now make a besides to not talk left this time. We don't see no impatient them already.
Near the prostate, on a very serious note, near the prostate, we get a small gland, they call it now they would keep if one for color with sperm, and they use the word sperm, okay? It is very close to it is between the prostate and the bladder. So when they do the rectal examination, they feel some of that seminal vesicle. They call it seminal vesicle, and it's exciting. It gets some arousal. In fact, when they do a rectal examination, most times you get for one man there for two things. That a possible say you go leak urine, or actually possible say you go actually leak some sperm, and they use the word sperm instead of semen. So you can give them some tissue paper where they just hold them, and it's okay if you're a professional doing it. It's absolutely fine, and then they only need for doing once. It's even better where the other person, the other half they do them. So T-Boy, give it a try.
Yeah. But Victor,
yeah.
Victor, what if, yes, a bit of urine leakage, a bit of sperm leakage. Yeah. What about if there's an erection?
Oh, why not? That's not. I'm not aiming for erection when I do it. But if erection come about, also you've therefore warned the person, say that may happen, and let the person in your response. And I like the question where the scenario that you put. You go to a GP and she's a female GP, she's a beautiful GP, and then there is some click. They say, Ledona, you will put you. It's possible for that to happen, all right? But that person doing it is professional. Say
yes.
We know of other professionals who don't abuse those situations. We are aware of that. So you should also be pushing awareness of NC say, cross the boundary. A person did not cross the boundary, and they shouldn't.
All right.
So they don't do your rectal examination. They don't feel, say, the prostate not quite right. Or it may be right. They don't do this PSA blood test. The level is slightly above what is supposed to be normal. And then the GP don't hear it from you, say, you get a family history. And the GP, of course, they see in a black person. So they go say, there are risk factors here. They are general practitioners. That is what I want you to understand. If there's a GP here who's listening, they are general. They are not specialists at all the fields. They have a good range of medical experience. If you are lucky for get a GP where it gets a urology, prostate interest, then it will get an expertise in that. So it will say, all right, I don't get this information. Now I send it to the experts then, so they will investigate this further. That is where, in this part of the world, they will refer you to specialist areas. And that is where I used to come in. But where GPs they refer, these patients used to come and knock at my door. I don't come, my GP don't do me prostate examination. I ask, what did they say? They say, the GP not tell me nothing. And you'll be surprised, it happens here. GP do that, they don't really give that much of information. The PSA blood test, it is slightly up. The family history did. What is next? And what is next is where we need to. What is usually next in the specialist centers? We try to confirm whether this person get prostate cancer now or you not get them. If he gets and what type of prostate cancer then gets. If we get for know what type of prostate cancer then gets, how for manage them. How for check and confirm prostate cancer? So you don't do the blood test, you don't do the back passage examination. In most areas, if you are going to do this in Sierra Leone, they are going to do a biopsy, what they call transrectal ultrasound biopsy. And they put a bit of probe. The probe is slightly bigger than this pencil. And they put it into the back passage. It gets a camera at the end where they see the prostate. Then they use that at the end of that probe, again, needle, where they fire into the prostate or take some sample or take some tissue. They can do away the awake. That is back home. It's transrectal ultrasound biopsy. Even here, and I know in the States, there are departments where they still do that one day as a first test. I was lucky to be in a department where they were at the cutting edge of doing things, where we don't find out, say, this transrectal ultrasound biopsy is not too reliable because there is a chance that it miss the cancer significantly. One, it fire into the prostate fairly blindly. In order to know what the fire at, they just pop. They take about 12 samples. So it's possible to say randomly it can get the cancer or randomly it can miss the cancer. But it has been, and in some areas, that's still the gold standard. However, things have moved on now, and increasingly in most areas, what they use now is an MRI scan, like they first do. So a very good MRI scan is what they are going to use. There is a type that they call a multi-parametric MRI. They call it a super-duper MRI scan. So they scan your prostate first and see what they can see. So when they don't scan your prostate, they see, say, all right, it looks pristine, that's nothing to worry about. Your PSA there within a normal range. We don't say you get family, but don't be worried. We don't need to do anything now. We don't need to do a biopsy. Or we don't do this MRI scan, areas they didn't have this MRI scan where we're suspicious of. Therefore, that area then let we sample, let we take some tissue then so we will check them. The MRI on its own, they're able to give we up to now, saying that some departments, they are moving that way, they're able to give you what we call a definitive diagnosis for, say, you get this type of cancer. They're able to give you a good suspicion of the cancer. And then you use the biopsy now for they check the tissue and see what's inside this tissue, whether that's cancer or not a cancer, or what type of cancer it is. So following this MRI scan, if there's a suspicious cancer, they will do a biopsy. They can do the transrectal ultrasound biopsy now that they have this information, or MRI-guided biopsy, or we'll call it template biopsy, or targeted biopsy. There are different names for it. But now it's more a clever way of doing a biopsy because you know what you are sampling. It's not just randomly. So when they don't sample them, then they check the tissue where they don't take. For let them know what they don't find out. If there's any question, I'm happy to stop before I go to diagnosis.
Can I come in now, finally?
Come in.
Can I finally come in now?
Boy.
Yeah, sorry?
Yes, ask you second question now, then we don't answer the first one, so that is a question.
Well, in the first place, I did not ask a question, but I will still continue with the flow. And I think, say, Mr. Kpandemoi, I have no surprise with the kind of passion where you get in your profession. I really, really respect the fact. But I think your profession also go alongside with the name Kpandemoi. So basically, after knowing the meaning of that name, I am very excited to hear you with the passion of your voice through the process of prostate. But the funny thing that happens on the chat group is the fact that I am not really commenting on the chat group today because I am not supposed to be doing that, but I'm listening and watching. And it's quite interesting to realize that most of the comments, the statements made on the chat group is coming from women. So basically women are being paying special attention to the description of what is meant to be done. Definitely, it is a priority. I don't think there is anything wrong with women to really pay attention to that. Because again, when it comes to breast cancer for the last few weeks that we've gone through, I think men were the focal points of actually looking at what are the signs and symptoms through their partners. So I think it's quite interesting to realize that the men last few weeks were not really in the position to ask or make comments on the group because I don't know whether they were shy or they were not too comfortable. But it's quite interesting to see the women actively playing a role of asking questions and actually making sure that they know the concept of exactly what needs to be done. I understand most of them are not nurses, so they cannot be nurse in their profession, but I think there are also lots of nurses that are also on the group who are actually making contributions. It's quite good, but again, as Mr. Abu is stating, we are not really comfortable with some of the words, some of the statements, some of the comments, some of the pronunciation of some of the things that we should be actually saying because of our cultural backgrounds of what we are not comfortable to say either in public or behind closed doors. But we should be very comfortable because at the end of the day, when you are sick, like he says, there is no barriers to somebody being ill. So we have to be in the position to be very comfortable to discuss these things. I know sometimes it's very unusual for men to say, I am going through XYZ. With prostate, I think most men were in denial of not having prostate because people were not actually being taught or being educated to the extent at which they should know that prostate is something that you were born with. But it occurs and ends up to be cancer based on certain practices or certain things that we go through as men. But we should be very comfortable to come out and ask questions about these things because at the end of the day, it is focusing on our health, and our health means a lot to us. So to be ashamed of asking questions, I think is not nice, even though some of us are still not 100% comfortable and we are trying to come out of that bubble. But just like Mr. Abu said, I will not have any hesitation to ask my partner to do such tests because again, whether you ask sometimes, whether you don't ask, as he says earlier on, these are all sexual orientation that comes in different forms. So possibly these things must have happened subconsciously. But for the fact that we are not focusing on the fact that we're looking at certain signs and symptoms that our partners may carry, we find it very difficult. Although there are times when people say it's not good to know what your status is, but there are also times when it's good to know. So if you are at the early stages, you'll be able to detect and you'll be cured. So let's not be shy of asking questions or maybe approaching our partners to say, oh, baby, what's happening? Can I check this thing for me? But make I get myself quite comfortable or convenient for say, possibly I am safe for now. The age they go, as I say, I only turned 35 a few weeks ago. We get for really... Why look how they talk about the age when they laugh? I don't like so. We get to be really mindful of what thing we do and how they go about for dua. So kudos to the women on the chat group and continue to ask questions because if you want practical demonstration, I don't guarantee that today because our dummy is not really in the position to do so. Whether we Chief Honorable Muhammadu Jumaba, but we go left that one day for another time. Since we just start the prostate week, maybe until the last day we do breast demonstration with him, we might possibly do another demonstration. But Mr. Abu, it's a pleasure. And also say the program just starts, but we get a lot more for learn from you. I will still be watching and paying attention to the chat group, but I'm not commenting there today. I'm just watching and keeping my eyes very busy and focusing on the questions, specifically from the people that coming up with these questions. I want to see what sort of questions they're going to come up with again. So over to you, Isatta.
Oh, thank you, T-Boy. That's very interesting. I mean, I know Mr. Abu wants to move on to treatment, right?
Diagnosis. What we call
diagnosis, right? Because somebody is just asking a question right now in relation to investigations. So the person is saying, can the examination be conducted through pinhole surgery as opposed to digital penetration?
Examination, pinhole surgery, you cannot examine for prostate cancer through pinhole surgery. I think what probably the person is trying to say, if I may, is whether the treatments they can use to surgery are going to address that.
Yeah, and this is a gentleman. I mean, there is just to add on waiting T-Boy talk, there are quite a few men watching as well, viewers. However, they're I don't know if they're being shy to ask questions. So it's more the women that are making comments and asking questions. But one or two men are asking questions. For example, it's a gentleman that asked about treatment and it's a gentleman that asked just now about investigation. So in terms of diagnosis, Kpandemoi, I know you prefer the Kpandemoi name to Victor. What are we looking at? What are some of the things that needs to be done, and through diagnosis that moves us away from just a general prostate, enlarged prostate, and all the other different things that can happen with the prostate that are non-cancerous, such as prostatitis and other, that we don't want to go into, because today we're focusing on prostate cancer. Fire away for us, please.
Before I do that, just to address the women's interest. I think it's important, and I get that experience even in practice when men came along with their partners, their women, we can get a better consultation because they have questions ready to fire. There is just our makeup as men, as women, playing a sick game or not playing a sick game. I'm going to be very careful here in terms of gender issues, but it's good that we support women, if possible, nag them to the point of getting them let them go do the testing. So after they don't do the MRI scan, they don't do the biopsy, they don't take out the sample, then they check them on a microscope, and then they're able to tell you whether you get cancer or not. If you don't get cancer, that means good news. In the world of medicine these days, you can never say 100%. So even with this super duper MRI and a very good biopsy, there is still the possibility of missing a very tiny, not important cancer. And I'll come to what not important cancer. Because when you hear the word cancer, it has to be important. In prostate cancer, some cancers are not important. So let me put that up front. So when they don't find out this cancer, then they try to tell you various things about it. Then they try to tell you what's the size of the cancer inside the prostate. Now, boku side the cancer inside the prostate, or not just small side a day. You get a big prostate of about, let's say 40 grams, all right? And then they just take out, then they say that 0.03 of that prostate in a daily cancer day. That's a small amount. Now, one spot no more in a daily cancer day, or it in several spots. So they can give those information. How many places did they find the cancer? The amount of cancer in terms of the volume, the size, whether they find in each of these places. Here, this part of the world, they give that information there. Then the other thing, where absolutely crucial, where they can give you the information, is what's in the grade. I'm talking about grade, like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. What's in the grade of this cancer, all right? Then they get various numbers where they put to it, and it's very universal. No matter where you go in the world, now one of 3 numbers that they put. It's either 3, 4, or 5. I have never seen 1, 2, 3. That's the grade. They call it Gleason score, a Gleason grade, Gleason score. If your number is 3, only 3 that you get, it means you get a low risk cancer. You grade now the lowest at 3. If you get 4, it means you get medium or intermediate risk cancer. If you get 5, it means you have a high risk cancer. What is important about these numbers and this risk is how they treat you. So if you get a low risk cancer, they plenty sign that you prostate, a small sign or more a day, then they get a type of treatment. If you get a low risk, but they plenty sign, instead they inform the treatment. If you get a medium risk, it is small size, old man, old in the sense of, let's say, above the age of 75, they get a type of treatment. So I'm giving you different, it can be quite a complex conversation. Then they tell you, say, your treatment is going to be based on your age. Your treatment is based on your health condition. If you're a person where you get other health conditions, diabetes, heart conditions, we're not going to be able to give you surgery. So there are several factors that therefore be taken into account. But I will be very simple and straightforward here in terms of how manager I can't go into those complexities. So if it is low risk, generally, and you are middle age here means 45. The last time I had to look up what's the middle age, between 45 to 60. If if it is low-risk prostate cancer, they can tell you, say, let's watch them. They call it active surveillance. All right? It's different from watchful waiting. I'll come to what watchful waiting is. Active surveillance, like the word say, that they actively survey your cancer. And the other thing I need to say up front, most men then can get prostate cancer, whether they live with for the rest of their life, they don't die from that cancer at all. They die from other conditions. So because of that, that cancer, they call it a pussycat kind of cancer. It's there because we know say for there anyway because of your age or your gene, but we're not worried about the grade or the amount of it in your prostate. Therefore, we can keep an eye on it. And you're at the age where we can monitor them. Or your health condition is so bad that we don't even need for rock your boat. So let's keep an eye on it.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Abu. I think we get somebody who will ask a question. Mr. Conte, Usman Conte.
Let's carry on.
Oh, okay. I think, is it the one that joined us late? That is asking question about the causes of prostate cancer? Juma, is that one?
Yeah, well, family draw my attention because me not able to see the question for some reason.
Okay, because I'm actually answering that because we've moved on from there. So I'm just typing through a response.
Okay.
Yeah, so that we don't break the momentum.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Abu.
So we'll keep an eye on the cancer. So low risk, it's no worrying. Let's keep an eye on it. But you are going to die from something else other than this cancer. And why they can make that decision is that some treatments they know they can give you, they do you more harm than actually the cancer will do you harm. If intermediate risk, then they can say, "Let's consider treatment." High risk, definitely allow do some treatment. It can actually be a low risk cancer. You're a young man, you get a family history, you're worried about it. They can still advise you about cancer treatment. So active surveillance, they can suggest them, but it's your choice to take it on board. If you want some form of treatment, the standard treatments are 2 radical treatments than this. If the cancer is inside the prostate, that's something else I need to come to. Because the cancer, if they find out, is either inside the prostate, they call it localized, it not go outside the prostate. Because probably if anybody didn't know about cancer or don't listen to Isatta conversation previously, cancer it can start sometimes, that they can end. Sometimes not today can end, it can go to other places then. We say it's spread. If the cancer don't spread, that's a different type of ball game. If the cancer is contained inside the prostate, all of that will determine what type of treatment you give it. So let us assume, say, the cancer there inside the prostate. This cancer, a low risk, or an intermediate risk, or even high risk. This person here, age is below 75. He gets a family history of prostate cancer. Therefore, let's treat it. 2 treatments, mainly, recognized at the moment as a standard treatment. Standard is the word, not recognized. Standard is the word I'll use. They can do surgery, or the actual name is prostatectomy. That is, they remove your whole prostate. They can either remove it radically, they cut either you just below you, we say your balls there, they cut that side there, or they cut above you, just below your navel, then they pull the prostate. That's a radical prostatectomy. These days, they can do keyhole surgery. That's what the person was referring to, laparoscopic approach. So then they puncture some holes then, and the robots go in there, see the prostate, and they remove them. So that's the surgery approach. So in that case, they remove the whole prostate, they remove the whole cancer, which means whether the cancer not be the all side, they remove all the prostate. The other treatments that's common is for radical treatment for cancer that is contained in the prostate. It's called radiotherapy, external beam radiotherapy. And like X-ray, one of specialist high-powered X-ray, where we focus on the prostate for kill the cancer cells. Instead, it target the whole prostate. Those 2 are radical treatments. Your intention is to treat the whole prostate. Happy to move on?
Yeah, Mr. Abu, I just want to ask, since this we done the yearly, but it's still a new thing to we community, to we society still. So with the surgery, when they remove, what happens to you? Are you able to still do other stuff, or you're not able to?
Call the names of the other stuff.
Call the name of the stuff.
No, don't worry. That's why I say I have to, as a specialist.
Exactly.
Right.
Fine.
So that's one thing.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask a second question, but let's answer that day first, because that's
Victor. Let pause, but let Juma ask this question properly.
The other stuff.
What I mean, like,
what's the other stuff?
I mean, like, you're able for peace, you're able for get sex, you're able for produce sperm, you know, all of those things. So
thank you.
Thank you very much. So waiting, I want, and it's a good time to come to that. About waiting are the side effects them of treatment. Okay, so it's good. They don't take your cancer out. So therefore, your prostate not there again, the cancer not there again. But because the radical treatment, well, we are hoping, because it's possible to say they can left something behind. Because they don't treat the whole prostate, it therefore cause problems to waiting in the function of this prostate. If we have been there at the start of the conversation, I refer to two main things weighing at the functions of the prostate. You get a reproductive function. So where would they ejaculate? Like where, I don't know, how they can call ejaculate in Creole? Where they
spam.
Where they release. Where don't say they release. Okay? Where they release, the prostate and they contract and they help for let you release. If the prostate not there again, then you know they're able to get that release there. The other thing is the nerves them where they make we get erection, they call it erectile nerves, they just there around the prostate. Most radical treatments wouldn't do until they remove those nerves. Therefore, a possible say you don't able to get erection again, either permanently or for some period of time. It depends on what the surgeon does. If either possible, you can get good erection, and most men have good erection because we get high testosterone, most black men, I should say. If you get good erection at the time when they remove your prostate, it is possible for your erection to recover after some time. But what they do, they start you on some tablets like Viagra or Cialis, or just gets your blood flow going. And they continue for using tablets the day after surgery. Some men, it can take up to 6 months for let them begin get small recovery to the erections. So we advise say get it stimulated. Either you get pussy partner where go stimulate erections, or you masturbate. Masturbate is you put water, you put soap, and you hold yourself. It's acceptable. It's acceptable for you to do that. You're not gracefully masturbate. If you want, you can do that. But it affects your erection, either permanently or for some period of time. It also affects your water works, how you pass water. Because I be talk say one of the other functions is it control water works. If you don't remove the prostate, that muscle control where the prostate will provide for holy water inside your bladder, you know the day again. So it's possible say you go leak water, or you're going to go more frequently. So they can teach you for how you for the squeeze the back passage so that you'll be able to hold. So some man then they can go for put a tube, called a catheter, inside your tube, say until things settle down, or they teach you how to train your bladder by possible for let leak water. But the one way really concern most men, and it's a very rare problem, are the erectile problems. You know they're able to produce picking again after your prostate don't come out because they pull out the seminal vesicle. So if you know say they plan for born picking, they advise you say get sperm, let them go preserve them. They can preserve sperm for up to 10 or more years. So that whenever you're ready, they can inseminate her into the woman for let you born picking. But because prostate is normally an elderly kind of disease, most men sometimes are not worried about no black man up to even 78 who can still want tower and produce. So those are the side effects you have to think about. And as a result of those side effects, there are some other alternatives.
All right. There are a couple of questions here. I don't know whether that's taking us aback, but if you don't address them, you will just say you don't address. One of them say, if my biopsy test results are negative, but my PSA is still elevated. What next? That's
What
one of
next?
the questions.
Yeah.
And then the second question, what effect does vasectomy has on the prostate?
What is
These
it?
are the two questions.
No, what effect does vasectomy?
Oh, vasectomy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the two questions.
The first one, the negative biopsy. If you get a negative biopsy, it depends on what type of biopsy they have done. If it's transrectal ultrasound biopsy and you are in this part of the world, I would strongly advise that you go to a cancer center where they should reinvestigate you with using this multiparametric MRI. Because at my center, there are most men that came with a negative biopsy, and with the multiparametric MRI and targeted biopsy, we found cancers. Because the transrectal ultrasound biopsy usually not able to reach the front part of the prostate, we call it the anterior prostate. And you can get significant cancers in those sections. So don't necessarily settle for a negative biopsy. If it is a transrectal ultrasound biopsy, I would suggest you go to centers. If you're in London, University College London Hospital is very good. Guy's Hospital, Guy's and St. Thomas, they have multiparametric approach that they can use. Vasectomy, in terms of it is not proven yet that it can actually take away your risk of prostate cancer. So it's still not a foolproof, and there are studies that have been done around that. So you can have vasectomy and still have a prostate cancer.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abu. Continue, sir. So
you get a radical treatment. We have talked about the surgery, and we have talked about the radiotherapy, which are the standard radical treatments. And thanks, Juma, for bringing up the question around the side effects, because the side effects are the ones. Because if you're not a young man, you don't get a lot of cancers in your prostate. It's a low-risk cancer. Your PSA is not too worrying. Then we want to do surgery by your prostate and remove all your prostate and cause erection problems. Because we are not only treating the cancer, which is physical, you also have to think about the human being, the psychological aspects of the person. And the psychological aspect is the sexual aspect, the emotional aspect, the attachment aspect. They get partners. So not only the physical, which is important, but treating the other aspects of the whole person you are looking at. So what is happening? There are some newer developing treatments. And at my center, I've written some articles around that. We did some of those. They call it minimally invasive kind of treatment, okay? Where they are still not standard treatment, but increasingly they are in use right across the world. In the United States, mainland Europe, Germany a lot, the UK, there are several centers. Wherein they will do a good examination of your prostate, MRI scan. They do good biopsies, targeted or template biopsies, and then they're able to identify which part of your prostate gets the cancer we'll worry about. So when that is done, then they'll advise you, we don't need to take out your whole prostate. That's with surgery or radiotherapy. We can treat that worrying cancer. The grade 4, we said the grade 4 day, we can treat that side day, or we can keep an eye on the grade 3, or we can treat the grade 3 and the grade 4 and left the other side then, so that will not go rock your prostate both too much in terms of your erections and in terms of your urine symptoms. So treatments, two treatments that are increasingly in use in the UK particularly, and they're a bit more global, up to Japan level. It's called HIFU, high intensity focused ultrasound. It's like they microwave your prostate, then they cook your prostate. Then they target that area, then they apply heat there, then treat that area there. Then they monitor you over time. Or they can use cryotherapy. So instead of heat cryotherapy, they use freezing approach. Again, they target the area, then treat them. What they do is they treat those specific cancers that they consider to be significant cancers, worrying cancers, and then they observe your prostate over time. The benefits of that is that the side effects are minimal in terms of the erection. So man, they're able to get those treatments, they treat the cancer. Next week, they can get sexual activity, or in 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
In the erections.
Right. There are a couple of questions as well, and I see T-Boy Asian. One of the questions say, can I ask a question? With regards to the question Mr. Ba asked about affecting sex, are you saying that prostate cancer controls sperming? That's one. Then the second question is, do young people get prostate cancer?
The sperming aspect, the sperm is actually produced in the testes. Okay, but when it's transported, it sits, the seminal vesicle has some fluid. The seminal vesicle and the gland is situated between the prostate and the bladder. So where would they ejaculate or where would they try for release? The prostate, they contract for let it actually make sure so that fluid there, the sperm is propelled or it travel into the woman. So if the prostate's not there, then that process is cut off. You're not able to get that process. So that's where the sperm is. So in order to produce the sperm, they produce about 20% of the fluid that it contributes to what we call the ejaculate. The other question was around, what was it again?
Young people.
Oh, young people. I don't know what young people is. Young is very relative. Young is the youngest person I have come across with prostate cancer was, I think, between 35 and 40. He was a Caucasian, not a black person, but he had a significant family history of prostate cancer. He had a first degree in papa, in brother, in Getam. So it risk being very high. The risk of cancer, the grade did not be too high, but the cancer was there. So if you are talking about young, in the world of prostate cancer, for a black man, 40 and above is when prostate cancer becomes an issue. Below 40 is not much of an issue at all. Okay. If you have a family history, it's around the 40 age bracket. And generally speaking, in the general population, around 50, 45 to 50.
Okay. And another question is asking about prevention. How do you prevent prostate cancer? And of course, the issue of causes, with what causes it. Then after that person there, I'll ask T-Boy for asking question because I see his hand up.
So the prevention, you cannot prevent, because if the positive follow-up, for let you prevent, you got to understand first the risk factors. The 3 risk factors of prostate cancer are growing older, if you get a genetic history, if you get a hereditary, you get a gene, or if you're a black person. And those are things you cannot change. If I have a drug today to stop people from growing older, I'll leave my current job. I'll become a millionaire, okay? But the older we add, the risk factor is. So if you can prevent getting older, not by going to the gym, I'm talking about physical age, oldness, if you want to put it that way, then you can. No, you cannot. What is advised generally is to live a healthy life. Healthy life is good because at the end of the day, it may not take away the cancer, may not, who knows. Something I'll end my talk on, which is always very exciting, the conversation. I'll leave that to, nobody has asked that yet. May have some contribution, but not really. They say exercise, but in terms of preventing prostate cancer, even with good diet, exercise, there is no science as yet to say that it prevents prostate cancer.
Over to you, T-Boy. You have a question.
Thank you, Mr. Agmo. I think I want to play devil's advocate when it comes to the side effects. So basically, I would say I'm still safe because I'm 35, so I'm still haven't crossed the border yet. So basically, if you are 35 and below, you're safe according to your statement. So going up towards, say, for example, I know I have extra 35 more years to be on the risk side. So basically, when it comes to the side effects, will you have options to choose between 1, losing your ejaculation, or 2, still be potent, but at the same time, you're sexually active? Will you have those options to choose? Because from a selfish point of view, I might want to lose one and maintain one. What are the options of making those choices if it gets to that level?
You'll be given enough opportunities. I'm hoping that will be the case. In most departments now, for governance sake, they give enough information of all the options available to you. In the treatment of prostate cancer, there is no one treatment. Somebody asked a question earlier on. I'm very mindful of that. I said to say about chemotherapy. I'll come to that. It's not come up yet in terms of the treatment aspect. Then they give several options. Like I said, one of the options can be the cancer is not worrying, let's keep an eye on it. Active surveillance. And there are some men, actually, they can do active surveillance for 10. I don't see people that they don't do active surveillance for over 15 years. Okay? So they come, they do their blood test, and do the MRI scan, the cancer is stable, no rocking the boat. So they maintain all their functions. Some man can say, I am worried about losing my erections or my urine symptoms. Therefore, I'm going to try the new developing therapies. They'll give you that option. So we treat the significant cancer with this HIFU or microwave treatment, if I can put it that way, and this freezing technique. And therefore, we keep an eye on your prostate and maintain your functions. If your cancer is not at the edge, right at the edge of your prostate and wanting to break away from the prostate, you have very good surgeons who could do what they call nerve sparing surgery. They remove your prostate, but they try as best as possible not to tamper with the nerves that are responsible for your erection, for especially younger men. So I know of a surgeon I was working with that did a radical prostatectomy, robotic radical prostatectomy, and in 6 weeks' time, the gentleman had restored his erections. He had nerve sparing surgery. So you'll be given that option. In terms of external beam radiotherapy, you don't have the option of nerve sparing. If your cancer is about to break out of your prostate capsule, nerve sparing is not advisable. So it depends on the stage of your cancer, the option will be given to you, and you choose what is important to you. Hence, I said, it's not just the physical. You got to look at the whole person. If the emotion is important, then that's what they will attend to.
Thank you so much. Well, now the calm down, camp and calm. You know, that's what I can say. The question that we don't drop just now, get for...
Whatever that means, I have no idea what that means.
The calm down, really camp and calm now. Because now, so the first question is, how can a partner cope psychologically when she notices that the partner has prostate cancer?
Yeah.
That's one. The one way relates to that, is it true that the more sex men have, the lesser their risk of prostate cancer? So I say, you calm down, really camp and calm now.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
Yeah.
Way to leave the sex side to my shorting part, you know, when you want to leave that on a high. But it's here now, so we have to deal with it. In terms of partners, again, the problem where it comes to with culture, with traditions, and the man business, the gender aspect, it makes things can be troubling a little bit. But what I can say, if you get your partner involved in it from day one, they are aware of what your symptoms are, they visit with you to the appointments they want to go, you allow your partner take a lead in asking questions so that they know exactly what they are getting into, to be reassured that this can happen, but we'll get alternatives. If you remember, I say, if we know, say, you do surgery, you are going to lose your erection, they can start you on some medication or begin for just getting blood flowing and continue with that. So it is more of how you involve the partner into that conversation. And then if you the man where you get the cancer, if you involve your partner, you're able to get the support. If you hide them from him, it get for no later, then it becomes a troublesome stuff. But if she's right there with you, that makes life easy. They support each other. Because the other thing with erections and generally what we call sexual dysfunction, problems with sexual, the physical side there, but the psychological side is so heavy. So if you get a partner where they support you in terms of arousal, they play with you, they encourage you, all of that support the process of you maintaining or restoring your erections. So involve your partners into it. And partners, the women especially, probably you have to ask a bit more question. Tell her and say, this is not all about you. Myself, otherwise, how you want to let her do? You know, so get yourself there and involved with it.
Okay. Thank you so much. Well, family, where they listen, and I listen to Mr. Victor Abu, where they educate we and share with me vital information, knowledge about prostate cancer as the ABC of breast cancer. Now we don't start so, and we continue that conversation. There is another question here. We say, what are the signs? You know, what are the signs? Are there visible signs? Are there changes in the body? You know, kind of things we will begin to say, okay, I feel this way, or I notice this kind of thing, like when we talk about breast cancer kind of situation. So that question, if you want to touch on that, please.
I can. No, I've been touching on that briefly, and I'll come back to the sex question because it's absolutely important for men. I know men like their sex, like they like their cars. So
well, the sex question was mainly asked by a lady, actually.
And they, of course, I'm sure there's a man sitting in the background.
Exactly. Well, the question and not the flow, but go address those two, or if you want to leave the sex.
No. I'll leave the sex. I'll come back to it. It's on my list. In terms of the signs, like I said earlier on, generally there are no visible signs of prostate cancer, especially at the very early stage. You will notice absolutely nothing. The body not a change, nothing not happen, because the things they way can be connected to prostate cancer at advanced stages can happen without prostate cancer. Urine symptoms, okay? So if you, like I said earlier on, if you get an advanced prostate cancer near your water pipe, then it will push against your water pipe. Therefore, it will make your water pipe a little bit narrow. Then it's possible say where they pass water, urine, the stream can be weak. So therefore, you need to empty your bladder properly. Therefore, you therefore go frequently. But that can happen without prostate cancer because you can get a large prostate. So you're not specific to prostate cancer. When prostate cancer don't advance and spread, then it can cause some symptoms that are apparent. You can actually have visible. Things like lower back pain, because it can go into the bones. Those are advanced stages. The other one way people can see, but again, it's not connected necessarily to prostate cancer. If you pass sperm, and I'm going to use the word sperm, and you see blood inside the sperm, it may not, because if you get a vigorous sex, you can have what we call hematospermia. You can get sperm inside, you can get blood inside the sperm. But if you see it once, twice, then let it be checked. So there is no specific visible symptoms for localized prostate cancer. There may be for advanced prostate cancer, as I've said.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gla, your question will be addressed alongside the one about sex, because that's what the person they ask, say, you stated earlier there's nothing wrong with masturbating. How beneficial for one to masturbate? So that's so that.
I missed that. How to what? Let me address the sex now. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Now, sex is good for the prostate. Like I said, about 20% of the fluid where they ejaculate, the fluid where they produce, where we are released, comes from the prostate. Little ducts in the prostate. In fact, there's what we call the ejaculatory duct. It's a tiny channel through which the sperm they come out from this seminal vesicle, small tube where it's down. Then that will they one release. The prostate they contract, they squeeze, they'll pass. Now, what's the question around sex? The evidence is still yet to be proven. Harvard don't do a study, started quite a long time ago, about 1986, follow up for over 10 years. Australia, they have done some studies around that. I'm not aware of any studies in the UK around sex and prostate. It's not about more of prostate cancer, but prostate health. It is generally believed that the more you ejaculate, because when they do this test, they do it on men of certain age, middle age, and they ejaculate normal ejaculation like 4 to 7 times a month as a standard. And there's a man that ejaculates up to 21 and more times. What they found out was that people that ejaculate more, this 21 and more, their risk of prostate cancer reduced up to about 33%. That's significant. So those two studies in Harvard, in Australia, what they are telling us at this stage is that sex, I'm not going to use the word sex, ejaculation, basically. ejaculation has some beneficial effect on the prostate, both in terms of the congested, because it relaxes the prostate, and also reducing the risk of prostate cancer, according to these studies. But the thing about studies of this nature, you have to do a very large cohort, like tens of thousands, for being able to get a very reliable. But so far, sex is not a problem for prostate. It's more of a benefit. So the more you ejaculate at this point in time, it's believed, the better for your prostate. So 21 and above, they found them to be more. And why I say sex, I would want to play the word sex, because ejaculation can be done through sexual intercourse or through masturbation.
Right.
You masturbate and then you ejaculate. It's a similar effect as the only difference is there is that emotional of contact with somebody. But you can, and it's absolutely healthy to ejaculate as far as the health of the prostate is concerned.
Okay, thank you. So, another yeri is say the research still the gone. It not mean say now you get for the go beat the woman every net say can I add this that no not so that I make it talk about ejaculation. So you know say power sex. So when I get for bear that in mind.
If the woman don't get chance, you can do it. Say they call an DIY. Do it yourself. Okay. Get some Vaseline and then release yourself.
Right. So that's and again a connected question with that is from Mr. Conte. They ask about if you possibly get prostate cancer, be able to make woman get belly, if you're able for pregnant a woman.
Oh yes, as long as they don't remove your prostate yet, you still get erections, it is still produce and ejaculate the fluid. Yes, it's able. And just to reassure you, they transfer the cancer cells from that prostate into the woman. So there's no transfer of the cancer cells into the woman. You're able still impregnate, and there's no risk of that woman developing cancer.
Okay, so cancer not to STD. Understand? Not to STD. If you get consensual sex, the woman agree, you say agree. If they not remove them, it's still possible for get belly. So that's not the answer. Go ahead, Abu. I don't know whether Isatta want to rub mouth by anything or get question. He said a smile right now, because I don't know whether this 7 days business or the 21 days business. Now they worry am now because for me talk about the 7 days and try to catch. I see. All of a sudden,
I see you go quiet first.
Yeah, it go quiet.
So yeah, go quiet.
Symptoms. I don't understand. Yeah.
No, what you mean want to make clear to the viewers them, and especially demand them for reiterate say, we know we culture a lot of things and the way we know they do. It's purely based on we culture or background. And with strong values, just like what they talk about, how do they check or examine you for your prostate? I think it's the same way within we culture. A lot of black men then they find and say masturbation is disrespectful or to their body or humiliating to their body, and so on and so forth. So it's really for just remind and reiterate say. There's nothing wrong to masturbate. You can masturbate the same way women themselves can play with themselves and masturbate and have an orgasm. So the same way man themselves for able to feel comfortable for masturbate and ejaculate. Forget the benefit of waiting Victor they talk about. So I think I just wanted to reiterate that. And yes, of course, having prostate cancer, not a sexually transmitted infection, not a thing where they transfer if the man begin get in erection and then decide for once forget sex with you, a woman. The other thing where I just want to highlight, somebody I think mentioned but not asked the question very clearly, is how a woman go cope if you man no get rectal function. Basically, you man in tone not a timat. What do you go do? So it's about looking at different other ways how una go satisfy yourself sexually whilst una the wait. Like Victor say, Sometimes after treatment, it can take some people up to 6 months, sometimes longer or sometimes less. So whilst they wait for that time there, now for look and explore other ways where una go achieve una sexual desires and satisfaction. Because like Victor also say, it's very important when it comes to cancer and organs that are related to our reproductive system, you therefore look at it from a broader perspective. You therefore look and say, okay, I'm not just I go pull this prostate come out. What's are the impact where they get on this man in relationship and everything else, both not just physically or physiologically, but also psychologically and emotionally. So here is where the partner becomes very, very important and relevant. And as we gladly saw today, Boku man on the listen, they watch. The man that we know said, and then at the background that they make like they're not they listen or they watch, but they watch through the woman. But more also, Lord give the man and credit. A lot of them also don't they contribute and make comments. So it's about looking at different alternatives and seeing how best una go satisfy una sexual desire. Because losing your prostate is not the end of the world, right, Victor?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No, like you said, just be creative and be true now, because you are, if not try for day in each together, and support each other. It makes, and be open-minded in terms of how una go. That's the time probably it needs una go to what they call old hunting grounds, holidays where you just and stimulate each other, stimulate with fantasies, sexual fantasies. All of that can help as well, because we know that sexual dysfunction, what they make complicated for a cure, is when people shy away, because now the problem on so they support each other. But even when not in what is called the Okobo state, try and see, play around with them, and if not, no more than our oaths, as naked as you can and walk around, but just stimulate each other. We had somebody who had, he was over 70, where he asked the question at last year's conference. He's over 70, and he said, when they're pulling prostate, and so they talk like all that the church say, this person will become Okobo. He said, well, now, he said, come back. He said, then they come, then they challenge me. They can't say it. So it comes back. Know. I remember that. So yes. Very good testimony at his age and his experience. He got his restoration. And I'm sure it would have been with the support of the person who he partnered with you.
Yeah. I think it's very important, because I think in our community and our culture, it's very interesting. You mentioned that word Okobo. Quick, they don't take and tell you what. I will do on the left hand in our Okobo. Let's go with Sabidu, But it's about us as women as well, taking that responsibility to say, okay, my partner or my man or my husband, they go through this. How best I go support them? Rather than you take and cause them, how best you go support them for nurture the thing back, for bio am, for see if you go make you able to grab it him up again, it doing work with.
I like the bio one.
Yeah, so now bio so
then say for better and for worse, in sickness and in health also.
Exactly. So
that's where
it's all about partnership, and that is why we they do them program there, so that people are enlightened and understand what thing they go on, what thing can cause certain things such as this Okobo business. Because on Monday, it go don't get this in problem, it don't hide them, it don't go do them, it don't do in treatment, it not telling woman. Then all of a sudden the thing not the team up again. How we go explain to the woman? So then of course the woman will not know what thing on they go on, go just look and say, it's not so better man, you're not able doing work. So it's all about honesty, it's all about openness, it's all about sharing and being there for each other. Very, very important, because I think all of that, they give that person the confidence for go ahead, for getting treatment or not. The same way we talk about breast and the importance and the sexual importance we'll put, to breast. Where they make some woman, they elect him, Bobby, they rot him, and I know they go let them go pull them. because they feel say people that go laugh and say no to complete woman. And the same way I think men do. The only difference is men verbalize and express themselves less compared to women, you know, and man and they able to hide some of their own issues. For example, if you really not intimate with a man who get erectile dysfunction, you're not gonna know, say he gets erectile dysfunction, and so on and so forth. So I think it's very, very important. It's a very important take-home message for let we understand we the woman them how best for support and continue for bio them man they are where they go through them difficult times they are, you know, and ask questions like Victor said. If you man they go through this or you person they go through, call somebody where get a bit of knowledge. You talk through them and you ask questions and you go get the information where you need. You go get the advice. I don't know. Juma, Femi, very quiet today.
It is my writing question, and Tiba will ask, but before I go to make the couple of comments just for support what you stated here, that you know, somebody said the woman then for make the problem light for the man then by involving in their men's care, you know, and that is very important, and that part of the support. Then another person say again the people and you know family members not the help situation, you know. Because if you don't know for say the man get this kind of issue, then you wait till and make plabas and say you ask him for something, say brother help me no la buy so you know it's equal, and they use that now make you now a balls man, you know all that kind thing then they so use all that kind of word then they so you know the help situation just for support that we all get for care for each other, you know, not to buy willful. Go ahead, T-Boy.
They listen to all the comments they make in terms of support, network, and everything. But I think we got to be extremely honest within ourselves as Sierra Leoneans. We culture not to norms with some of them discussion they also would get so. So if I say like we be extremely honest, imagine now, majority of the time, women then they give no support when it comes to sexual activities. If you the man have been active and then all of a sudden you are inactive, it creates serious issues in relationships, in marriage houses. We go possibly 30, 40, 50, 60, maybe years back, time immemorial. And some of the disadvantages the way I possibly look at now, going back 50, 60, 70 years to our great grandfathers. Now the fact say, you realize say most of we male fathers and grandparents, then they married younger kids at that early age. So sometimes then they marry 16-year-old Pekin or 20-year-old Pekin or 18-year-old woman. And then possibly in the mid-30s, late 40s or early 40s. So basically, they're not being the rationalized for realize say the issues there with them be the gates, possibly now lead up to prostate where not be they make them get some function. Maybe they were doing some form of operations back in the days where sometimes we say somebody get bosom, then after them pulling bosom, you know, become effectively active again sexually. So we get plenty of them norms here, so we have been kind of norms within our society back in the days. So I'm not going to say that's a form of advice with what I want to say now, but I think we should look at the age gap in terms of relationships. So basically, you know, for struggle with the relationship for make you go into somebody with something 30, 40 years younger than you, and you slightly a bit active, because coming to realize there is a high potential for black men for come up with a prostate illness any point in their life. It means you're going to lose out after you're now into your 60s, because that woman you go there in prime when I say in mid 30s. That's the prime of a woman, sexually active and everything. And then you don't have the potential to actively satisfy your female partner. So you basically put yourself in a funny position. And I would guarantee to say, definitely not to even behind closed doors, verbally saying 90% of the time, women will leave that partner and go by saying, afterwards, I need to come spend time being you for waste me time. You don't even be able to satisfy me. Most times, it don't cause serious issues in relationship and in marriages. So we get to be very honest here when we say women and for support, women and for tribe, not to support women and get for be involved and totally accept something we're not to the norms for them. That is a massive big challenge. So we really have to look at that whilst we are saying women should support and should try and help, because it is not an easy task when somebody don't lose that in active manhood. In manhood, then they make a man that he owes a part of the financial support. Otherwise, he is not a man at all. So we have to really pay attention to where they say, woman for try, woman for this, woman for that. We man them also, we got to look at real own potential. Don't see a young girl thinking, oh, I like young woman. There's nothing wrong with that, but we have to also look at the consequences of when we get older. That's the time our younger female partners, they who don't generate, we will be slightly younger than them, they reach to them prime, and we get to the end of real prime. And we get a lot of issues there we will face with, not just prostate, but so many other health issues them. Women in the face similar, but it's not as much as men do. So we really therefore look at some of the issues that are also related to partners and what we culture and the norms. I would say salon relationships not get exploration. I think I would say maybe 20 years now, or currently the state at which Freetown or Salon Day, it is over the top in terms of sexual expressions. So I will not make that comparison now, but I would say any salon man or woman we don't pass 40 or 45, their sexual exploitation or their sexual experience or their sexual research in terms of how they can satisfy each other is a bit limited. It is not too wide because of the kind of era we grew up. That was not the norm. But within the past 5-10 years, it is kind of more exposed to some extent that sexual desires are open to trials and sex toys and kinky stuff that people want to explore to keep their sexual activities very active. So we therefore also bear all that in mind when we make gestures or what they say women therefore try for support. It is so much at their disadvantage. So we really therefore know how we tackle these issues in terms of female or our female partners supporting us in this kind of situation if we fall short.
All right. Thank you so much, Tibau. Before I go to Mr. Me just want to say, mostly what they talk so now, possibly the advanced stage. Then they just go and go remove, you become, impotent. For let you reach that stage, they, you don't feel something, communication, don't they like how they say the care. If you involve in each other's life, if you're able to share certain things, them where you feel comfortable for talk about. When you reach another advanced stage, then definitely, you demand self, because problem, you say the women, but we demand and say, get problem. Because if you don't create a barrier, you need to talk with her, you need to communicate with the woman, you go to your doctor, you come, you shame or feel uncomfortable for talk to the woman. There is no way the woman go for involve. Because we get a culture wherein the man in the last word, which is saying that I don't want to talk about this. That's it. So if you don't want to talk about it, there's no way the woman will support you. So you should feel comfortable talking about it because it will affect not just you, but the wife and the household. So that would be possibly a common ground where we say for work on. Over to you, Mr. Abu.
Yeah,
you're mute. Let me try to unmute your phone now.
Yeah, when it comes to sex and prostate, it gets animated. That I know. And it can drift away the conversation. And I hope we still know we are talking about prostate cancer, but I'm surprised that sex can take the focus. Because I've seen that in practice, because the partners come, and that is a core, they're at the front, say how this therefore affect the relationship. So like you all have said, it's actually a partnership stuff supporting each other. I was just about wrapping because they don't, treatments have been offered. You have a choice to make, ask questions, explore what's near the chances. Of course, here you can do that, this part of the world. Back home, you are very limited in terms of the options available to you. Yeah, options not available. They are unlimited sometimes. Even if it is Scotland, Wales, or what, we have people coming from over the country, coming to what you call cancer centers, or get second opinion for their treatment. Consider trials, absolutely. We're not very good, like, again, we don't talk about culture, and I'm making a very sweeping statement here from my experience. in terms of charity, in terms of participating in trials. But these trials, they go on TV, they say leukemia, the way black people, they come up. There's a trial going on now for prostate cancer. If you know about trials, there's nothing wrong to participate. It's just to monitor you. They only take your blood sample and can't go on the other side. Hopefully we'll get rid of Trump very soon. So that will not be a problem for us. I'm just being political here now. But let's participate in trials if we can. People can live with cancer for a very long time. We call it cancer survivorship. So some, they have never necessarily received active treatment. Some don't receive treatment, is ongoing. The question was asked about chemotherapy. Chemotherapy, not a standard treatment for prostate cancer. It's for prostate cancer where it don't spread, inside the body, several parts of the body. Chemotherapy can come on. Chemotherapy is a high-powered chemical medicine where they kill both good and bad cells. But the good cells recover quicker than the bad cells. So chemotherapy is not a common treatment for localized prostate cancer. It can be used for cancer, metastatic prostate cancer, or cancer that has spread, some prostate cancer, very, very advanced stage. There's also a treatment that is used called hormones, because the prostate cancer, it feed on hormones, testosterone, dihydrotestosterone. So what they do, they give type of hormone, again, advanced stage. They get rid of the cancer, they contain them, they keep them within, they stop them from going further. So some people, they can give them injections, large injections, they call them Zoladex, or they give them certain tablets for just contain. Those are hormone treatments of prostate cancer. And that is really a wrap-up. So what's in the overview? The born with prostate, man them as they grow older, the prostate they grow with we. The older you are, the higher your risk of prostate cancer. So there's an age connection. Black people, risk is about 1 in 4 in this country. If you have a family history, it reduces that to about 1 in 2. If you get papa, mama, which I don't mention, and I should mention, if you get a family history of breast cancer, then you have a history of, you have a risk of prostate cancer. They are connected because of the BRCA2. And that's something very significant. And that's something, it's easy for pick out history of breast cancer in the family, because sometimes if you don't see mama or auntie or whatever, would fungating breast or whatever. So if you get a family history of breast cancer, then you are at risk, your risk of prostate cancer is higher. So there is no definite signs that it shows, but there are some. If you get concerned, present to your GP, they'll do some tests, back passage examination, put a finger on your backside, and then feel your prostate. They do the PSA blood test, MRI scan, biopsies, and from that, they are able to diagnose what risk factor you have, whether you are low risk, you're medium risk, or you're high risk, and then they advise you on your treatment options. It could be, let's just actively survey. Active surveillance means we'll do blood tests, we'll do MRI scans, or let's do radical treatments like surgery or radiotherapy, or we do minimally invasive treatments like cryotherapy or HIFU, or we'll do what we call watchful waiting. Watchful waiting is an elderly man who had other health conditions and the cancer is not the problem, so they're just going to keep an eye on them. And then sex, like we have said, has a role to play, but it's more the emotional, the psychology aspect of the partnership we are talking about. And people can live with cancer for as long as they can. That is about wrapping up the curtain.
All right, thank you. Before you go, there is one last question, and I think Steve mentioned something that is very important to clarify. Somebody asked, say, what's are the difference between Bosine and prostate cancer?
They are different. Bosine are water. They say you don't get fluid settled inside your balls. Okay, not your balls actually. You suck off your, but of course they call them.
Yeah, your scrotum.
The scrotum. We all call the other name. Because the balls are then too tiny.
Your testicles, yeah.
Not we said then 2 nodes in a day. So if you get what you call now lymph nodes they help with immune system, etc. If there's some blockage, the flow is obstructed, then they gather inside this circle side with balls. Then they cause Bosine. Whereas what do you call it? Prostate no connection to that. It's a gland on its own where it's not visible like the balls that's hanging under the sheep follicles.
All right. Thank you so much. Today's been, another wonderful program. We truly appreciate you, and it's been engaging. The questions and flow comments that come in. We hope so. We'll get you back shortly. Over to you, Isatta.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Victor Kpandemoi Abu, our very own true Sierra Leonean. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, viewers. It's been amazing. And somebody's just said lots of positive compliments, Victor. Someone said, don't let fear deter you. Cancer can be cured or contained. Excellent lecture. And indeed, and I think that's the message here. The key message here, look out for what you can look out for. Go to the right professional to seek further help. That could be in more diagnostic investigative test or diagnosis, and then possible treatment. Sometimes you don't need treatment, sometimes you just need surveillance. Yes, we're very sorry for our people back home. They are not fortunate enough or lucky enough to be exposed to some of the tests, the investigations, the diagnostic equipment that we in the diaspora are fortunate to have. However, at the same time, if you understand what they deal with, it makes it easier to manage it and contain it. Because like Victor said, sometimes you can have it and it doesn't need to be treated. You just need to keep an eye on it. Yes, you might have one or two symptoms like you did dribble, where you did piss, or you did suck it a little bit. But if you know what you deal with, it's easier to deal with it. So I want to take this opportunity to thank all of us, our viewers, everybody who's important. Special thank you to you, Victor. When I thought about prostate cancer, all the time I have to think about you. So I was very pleased when you said, yes, you've got time, you can join in today, because I think nobody can do proper justice to talking about prostate cancer other than yourself. I'm still looking for somebody who would differ in terms of that argument. So lots of men now coming out and saying, thank you, great topic. So it's interesting, there were so many men watching this program.
So all of me did at the woods.
They did at the background and they watch now all of a sudden, whoa.
Esther and your team, guys, you're doing a fantastic job for our community. And keep that fire burning, because that's what we are here for. For let we see, because knowledge where you keep na your backboot, na you want to see. So you can light a candle and put it on the table, put it out, put it in Siam. So you don't go have all this experience and seek opportunities, platforms where you can share it. So
absolutely.
And I keep
absolutely. So thank you so much. Knowledge is power, like I always say. Thank you so much, Victor. Have a good evening.
Isatta, funny enough, even Femin and I show up. Can you imagine? It was
I know. Victor, feel free to log out if you've got stuff to do.
It's a pleasure. All the best.
And we hope
thank you so much.
Bye now.
We get a few announcements then for make interesting ones. We hope you will stay with us whilst Isatta wrap up, and then we'll make those announcements.
Yeah, so thank you so much, guys. Going forward, like I said, this is November, it's the November month, and we're talking about men's health. I'm going to focus on men's health on the health show. And so my key focus is the prostate cancer. And there's so many other things that can go wrong with the prostate other than prostate cancer, but the focus is prostate cancer. We've just talked about the ABC of prostate cancer. We've talked about why you can have it, who is at risk, how can you go and seek help, how can it be diagnosed, what are the treatments, what are some of the challenges following treatment, how can your partner support you, and so on and so forth. And then next week, we would actually, I am hopeful we'll get at least 1 or 2 people in our community who would come and share their experience who have survived prostate cancer. So they are going to share their story with us and kind of try for demystify some of these taboos and conversations we've been having today, because the reality is, as soon as you mention the word cancer, most people think you've got the death sentence, and it's not always that case, especially if you live in the Western world nowadays. There's so much opportunity and facilities available, especially when you detect it early. And then going forward after that, the third and final week in November, again, we'll talk about diabetes. Diabetes is something that is also very prevalent in Black men, so we will be talking about it. And again, hopefully, I will get somebody who is suffering from diabetes who will join us, and so that we can share their experience. Because for me, I just feel, if we have all this knowledge, if we have all this information and we don't share it, then we'll never get rid of some of the challenges in terms of cultural and traditional challenges, like what T-Boy was highlighting. We need to continue talking. We need to continue educating one another. We need to continue to learn to share and disseminate information, break it down to a level where, we auntie there with mama or papa there and grandpa there in our village, let's go understand in one way or another. So please watch the space. As always, the health show by Isatta Sisay-Jalloh is always keen to promote good health and well-being, because remember, well-body and gentry. So thank you. Until next week, I'll see you again. Over to you, Juma.
Thank you so much, Isatta, and thank you to our viewers for staying with us and being so engaged and asking relevant questions. We make them easy for we guests for do presentation. I'm sure we enjoyed it, and it's been a learning process, an eye-opener for most of we. There are certain point during the presentation where some of we begin to sweat, me particularly, but then Victor Abu made it a lot easier. And I don't know, I'll go to the announcement then right now, or do you want to say, you have something to say, Femi? Are you still scared to ask your question? He's gone now. Don't be scared. He's not going to say.
I'm not gone. I'm waiting.
Yeah. Correct.
I saw him sneaking in and out.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I'm good. Don't worry, Femi.
Good.
Keep your sneaky business going on.
Yeah, you can't sneak, Femi. Go ahead now. Ask your question.
Yes, can you hear me? I haven't really got a question to ask. I've learned a lot. We want to say thank you to Mr. Abu. I mean, really and truly, for disseminate that kind of information here. So it is very, very important. Some of us are born to be teachers. Some of us are born to be nurses, doctors, lawyers. Me, it's what the trap of NWT are born for be. But I think, I'm in communications. Digital communications. So me on digital indifferent from that digital way Juma be the digital communications, and the little sense where we get in this industry, I think we try for use for convey information, relevant information to the community. So make we try do small thing. All I would like to say is encourage anybody will learn anything from today, for pass on the message anyhow you able. If na call you paddy, you check on them, especially this COVID time when everybody's at home, we don't know what's happening to people's mental health. Call them and talk to them and say, guess what, I listened to this program the other day, and then tell we say now this and this. Don't be scared to go to your doctors, blah blah blah. That small information they can save that one person day in life, or at least can prolong in life for a few more years. So I urge all of us to go to the doctors if we see or if we feel anything strange, and even if we don't know, to ask more questions, because as the other people in say today, women in particular, we're not very curious people. I don't know if we black man no more or with man and safe, but we hardly go to the doctors. We hardly talk to our partners about our health concerns, and I guess it's hereditary. We grandpa there no use for the talk dentia, we papa them neither we so something we for learn so that at least we picking them go able for communicate better and ask certain questions the way might help them. Then I want remind Juma about one single them in a single been small. We won't have been talking about Okobo. But I don't even remember the sing. I know
Okobo not to sing.
I know Tibo go remember this thing.
Nasaya.
Something tired.
Tell me, I don't remember that sing.
Well, I'm not remember really. I want make you.
People embarrassing no mean small. So I'm not gonna forget that.
But you know, going back to waiting,
but again, you see, we not be able to understand what.
Yeah, now that's a one say. You know,
let me highlight that so don't need provoke people.
The
because we didn't know what it was.
No, the part them in tell we the thing, but we not be understand them. We take and make fun and joke. But I've been their own way for communicate.
People, you know, way they in the 90s and stuff, you know, the other things that triggers it, you know. But anyway.
Yes, so really and truly, on that note, I'd like to say thank you to all the people that we joined with today. You know, I'm sure that they've learned one or two things them. Again, I express to them for share the message. So I obviously have heard about prostate cancer for a while. I at work, me party then tell me about this thing we then call Movember. 13 years ago, I think, or 12 years ago, something like that. And since then, they've been growing their mustaches. And myself at and to but until now we all here now with top lip. It go slower than the with Mayon. So they always win the competition. Me know they win. Me just raise money no more. But
you can go back Peruvian here. I put
well now I don't. I beat gone. I begin me on from lockdown, so I don't beat it right now. Anyway, so I've been supporting the Movember month, donating to cancer research. This is my badge here. The cancer, the prostate cancer.
The man of men.
Yes. So you know, I you know, at the Beguna, let's share our knowledge and let's save a life.
Thank you so much. Well, Fambulem, we now so they end the program. But on sorry, Uncle T-Boy one for the I feel saying I sing now you don't part with. Go ahead.
No, I just want to be again selfish because as Mr. Abu don't say, Mr. Fire the Gun Abu, neither the meaning of the Kpandemoi, don't say it is appropriate for women to do the test. So I am going to be looking, I'm going to be searching for so many women to do the test until I find the one that will detect the prostate. So basically, that is my opinion. So I am open to do the search. Me a guinea pig. So if you don't take the guinea pig work, I'm taking it. But on a very serious note, we say thank you to all the viewers. We just take this talk for the joke sometimes, but these are very serious issues. But as usual, we always try for make serious issues then become light-hearted. So people then go come out of their comfort zone and say what's in their own thing and where they want to, because sometimes it's hard for people to come out and say some of these things because they are very personal. But we find a way how we can crack jokes about it. We're not taking it funny. We're not actually cracking jokes to make fun of it, but it is just a way of counseling us to be able to come out of our shells and say certain things. So we really, really, really appreciate your questions and your comment that you're putting out on the chat group, because you're not just doing us any favor, you're doing favors to the people who are coming to watch and listen to your comments. Your comments can be very useful, not for today, but as a reference point for possibly what you're saying or the question that you're asking. So basically, I want to say thank you to the chat. I am not really involved in the chat as in communicating with you guys, but I'm watching what you are saying. And I really, really appreciate the fact that some men and women are coming out to ask these questions and making it a very open platform for us to be sharing what we have. And it's good to learn, and we're always learning. So kudos to Mr. Abu. And of course, Juma, I know say you're a man of the field as well. You're always involved in medical issues. Femi kind of, you don't talk and say also your expertise in that communication. But today he hide because they get so many questions they can ask you. Even asking when you say no servicing, you servicing guys, don't make them say no servicing the thing.
But yesterday self we they prep for the program today.
Exactly.
Yeah, they tend to say no servicing.
But again, amongst yourself, we play a lot of issues that we really come out with. We're very serious, but at the same time, we know how they break them to the public. So we really thank Una very much for spending your time and listening to us. Thank you very much. Over to you, Juma.
Thank you. So, Fambulem, I just want to remind Una Wedinaya, next week on Zooming In, we get a program, because the reason I make the announce this, it gets for do with things the way we always only talk about with concern Sierra Leone. You might want to call it politics, but it's not necessarily politics, but things where we say can deter Saloning go before one. We always don't talk about corruption. We don't invite people that we don't come indict the governments that they know they do things, they may do what is necessary for fight corruption. So on Tuesday, we get the Anti-Corruption Commissioner boss, Francis Ben Kaifala, Commissioner for Anti-Corruption Commission Sierra Leone. He's going to be live with us on a one-on-one to talk about what in government they do for fight corruption and some of the things that we possibly if we say don't come up now. We get for ask about, they don't fight corruption in the past, then they fight corruption now. What's happening? So along those lines, and you can ask your questions as well. Femi, you get anything for project for we? Yeah, so the flyer is coming up right there. And then, so you'll see it around, and please share it with other people because it involves waiting the happen at Salon. So you have that on Tuesday, and of course on Wednesday we get a big debate. We will send out the topic shortly, and then also on Thursday we get the health show again. Continue. Intermittently, we have other programs, and this Saturday actually we get an artist on part of our entertainment show. We doing a soft launch for artists in Sierra Leone. We're possibly not hearing music them. What not the artist in Empty Boy? You.
The artist in now Rap G, we get the hit song we call Inama, but it launch in we do soft launch in new singles then really come out. So basically yes, on Saturday.
Song Inama.
It is Vexinama. That means it is Vexinama. Oh. Yeah.
So if you don't hear that slang, it is Vexinama, it is Atunama, all kind nama. Now the artist that Rap G, it get new songs them and it go they live with Winaya so on Saturday. So stay tuned with CRJ Media. Until then, we appreciate you now. We love Una and stay blessed. Stay good now, and say good night to you and good day, good evening, and good morning, depending on which part today. Bye-bye.
Our aim is to teach our pupils to be creative, critical thinkers, to be innovative, and to become the new entrepreneurs of Sierra Leone and Africa, moving the African continent beyond the 21st century.
Jobs are going to change. The nature of work is going to fundamentally change.
We realize companies are starting to hire on skills and not degrees.
Currently, I'm a self-taught coding beginner. I develop websites and basic applications. I've been interested in science and technology since I was 11. An up-to-date STEM lab gives us what we need, the tools, motivates us to do more.
The Scholarship and Innovation Working Group from Old Boys Association has been working with both Reverend Canon Ken Davis and Canon Lashite to see how they can increase science and STEM at the school.
STEM is important because pupils can learn how to solve real-world situations and pursue careers in web development, artificial intelligence, robotics, chemical engineering, and the sky is the limit to what a pupil can do.
So our vision for the future entails computing capability that would create a STEM innovation lab to provide all students with practical, engaging, and self-learning opportunities to gain digital skills.
One of the use of the microbit is to test for science experiments. In the case of agricultural science, we want to test for the soil. You can download information about the type of soil on your computer, and then you take the microbit, download the information on the microbit.
STEM gives us the knowledge, gives us the capacity. With the science, the technology, engineering and mathematics, it helps you to be able to prepare for the future, to be able to earn your place in the future workplace.
The coding club is new, and we only have a few members for now. And very soon we will have a big coding club.
Let us give the young people the tools to become critical minerals or miners of their thoughts and ideas that will develop our countries, and also for them to play their part in creating a conceivable world.
All donations are appreciated, and all funds raised will go towards the development, implementation, and management of this first-of-a-kind digital STEM lab in Sierra Leone. Sierra Grammar School, empowering students for tomorrow's world.
When I was young, a lot of things were different. Unfortunately, most of the differences seen now are heartbreaking and are not good at all.
Before now, men were strong protectors of the weak, fathers, brothers, lovers, sons. Their mere presence guaranteed the safety of women and children.
But what do we do now?
Men harassing and raping women.
Men sexually abuse little girls.
Men battering and killing their wives.
Any form of sexual assault, be it rape, sexual abuse, or pedophilia, is a killer to human self-esteem.
Women should stop dying in silence.
Speak now.
The rapist should be stigmatized, not the victim.
I think death sentence should be the consequence of such terrible act.
And you mothers, build confidence in your children, put trust in them, listen to them when they make reports, and take necessary actions.
Talking of mothers before now, women were virtuous.
They were mothers, daughters, and sisters.
Nurturing, counseling, supporting their men folks.
But now, women are trafficking female children for money.
Women are forced to be silenced.
All this must stop, and it must stop now.
Real men do not abuse, rape, or molest women and children. It is barbaric, unacceptable.
Let all real men stand with us.
Together, let's say an emphatic no to rape, sexual abuse, pedophilia, and domestic violence.
Of all the crimes committed against a person, rape is the one that leaves the person feeling very violated. A rape victim is often left with the feeling that a part of them has been torn apart.
To use another person's body and ignore the souls that resides within is one of the most outstandingly shocking crimes that one person can commit against another.
Some men harass and rape their women.
Some men sexually abuse underage girls.
Some men beat and kill their wives.
Any form of sexual assault is unacceptable.
There must be consent before you act.
Being in a relationship is not consent.
If they are not sober, they can't consent.
Flirting is not a consent. We had sex before is not consent.
Silence, it's not consent.
Only an informed, sober, freely given, ongoing, and enthusiastic yes is consent.
Women should stop dying in silence.
A man does not become a real man by physically dominating a woman. A man becomes a real man by loving, protecting, and respecting the woman.
Real men do not rape or abuse women and children.
Let all real men stand with us. And together, let's say no to child abuse, no to domestic violence,
no to all forms of rape, being it spousal rape, intimate partner rape, child sex abuse, statutory rape, date rape, serial rape, and gang rape.
We must rise up against this ugly trend.
Justice for one, justice for all.
All sexual assault must stop, and it must stop now.
She was the brightest at our level, even though she was as innocent as the heaven. That did not stop Papa Abu at age 57 to ask for her hand in marriage as she turns 11. Her parents, being naive about this rage, tolerated this marriage, and this destroyed the hopes and dreams of Kadiatu to live like it in Seattle. Instead, she's been used as a tool by an old school. Kadiatu is being used as a bait by her own mate. My friend is being emotionally tortured by this old culture. Old child marriage, it's on the rampage like disease, eating up the fabric of our girl child image, and it's our duty to cage. Let diverge, please be obliged. It is now we emerge from this ancient custom at large.
If not for this dreadful event, Kadiatu could have become president, but now she has been trapped in an old man's residence, like a mosquito in a tent. She is vulnerable, but with her age, she is still able to become that virtuous woman of substance, like Madam Patricia Kaba, Madam Dr. Kadi Sisay, Madam Sianyama Kooma, Madam Dr. Sylvia O'Blyden, Madam Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Oh yes, without child marriage, our girl child can still turn into Madam Hillary Clinton, Madam Theresa May. Be it as it may, Madam Condoleezza Rice, let's not be hypnotized, but rather stay wise, for this can only be realized if education is being prioritized and child marriage is being criticized. So please, parents, do not relent, as it is apparent that a girl child can become great if only you patiently wait.
Silverstone Beats.
People killing, people dying, children hurting, hear them crying. You can practice what you preach, or would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. People got me questioning, where is the love?
See this life going evil, we all have to give, oh yeah, yeah. Cause all I see is evil, and too much killing of my people, yeah, yeah. Let's bless one another, yeah. So let's help one another. I sing again, yeah.
What's in me, I don't see this kind of thing really happen. This not to be education opportunity. Now in we need, let we learn for the share, not to all time for big greed.
You see this life, the live, is it we lose or we know? Stop killing one another. Let's stand together, yeah. Stop playing the hero, looking at each other like we're zero. On the block with a C, money they can make every day pan pre, yeah.
R.I.P. They took our boys, they take our joy, take our joy. This are the time we stop now crime. Don't blind bodies like your future.
Stop the stabbing, stop the killing. Let's love one another. Peace.
Where is the? I see fighting every day.
see dying every day. Why don't we help each other and pave the way for a better life, a life that we all deserve? Instead of killing each other, why don't we preserve? So you wanna be a bad man, he's gonna be a badder man. You got a big knife, he's gonna get a bigger knife. Our people suffered for years in chains. Now we turn on each other, cut for gains. For the ones that send the youth to kill themselves, you pretend to be a father figure but only care for yourself. You are nothing but the flesh of the devil. You're evil, low life on another level. Think about the mothers and the pain they go through. You don't care for these kids, they mean nothing to you. But karma only knows the boomerang maneuver. One day the green reaper will be your remover.
They settle the range, ranting up some sanctimonious food. Is as poetic verses, ruminate a prophecy given to a sentient dude. So I say it's as it is for you to listen and deduce the wisdom that's gonna liberate and galvanize you. Under the sun ain't nothing new, that for black on black crimes and breaking news. Under the sun ain't nothing new.
You gotta stand up. Stand up for what you believe in. Gotta stand up. Stand up for what is right. 'Cause if you got me, then I've got you too. Regardless of what you've been through, even when you're feeling new. Where is the love? Do this if we try. There's no time to waste your time. Together forever, whatever the weather. Us as a unit working together.
See, I been a lot done, but me heart still at home. God don't lift me up, but me heart still at run. You will never go far if you don't know where you're from. So I don't do it for myself, I'ma do it for the young. Please to my brothers, let's do it for the youngest. Why spend a bag on a jumper? Back where you're from, people dying with hunger. With people that they suffer. You then I argue the bluff, it's copper. You're the game need for change. Let me not get up. Where's the love? Where's the love, yo? Where's the love? I said,
where is the love? Little youth, let's take time. Stop all the knife and the gun crime. Think of the future, paint that picture. Get a youth in the future. Peace gonna rain on me. Peace gonna rain on me. Yeah.
Let's stop the violence and come together. Get rid of knives and guns and bombs. Let's be together. With peace and love, golden hopes through storm and weather. See what is going on. Where is love?
Tell me, how do you feel when you see your brothers and sisters lying down the street helplessly? And what will you do if you die today and find yourself in hell? I want to ask you this. Look inside your eyes and answer me with all the truth. Where you get whose side the love they?
when I left. Boku man them get nef. If you live by the nef, you go suffer. You know get sense, you know sabi say nef not for butter. Stabbing guys, yeah that's uncool. When it comes to knives, yeah I'm anti. What happened to fighting guys with your hands, G? When you stab a man, it's not one man you stab. Just remember that you stab a whole family.
People killing, people dying, children hurt and hear them crying. You can practice what you preach, or you will turn the other cheek. Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. People got me questioning, where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? The love, the love. Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? The love, the love.
As we talk about burning issues ranging from politics to the economy, culture to sport, education to entertainment, corruption to the environment, we realize the Sierra Leone story is far from finished. So, Sierra Leone Media Production brings you Zoom. Zooming In is the program that engages everyday people, entrepreneurs, inventors, entertainers, activists, policymakers, and politicians to discuss and debate issues relating to Sierra Leone. Zooming in digs deep into the issues and stories. Zooming in ensures the debate is pushed to another level. Zooming in asks those questions that has never been asked before. So, join me, host Juma Baba.
Yes, this na term for all Salon people and then party them. Sisay-Jalloh Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like Salon discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour and the Gladi program. Look me, I look you.
All this they start soon na www.sisay-jalloh.org.
Now who's term these?
Somebody.